issue a warning for those watching. This way they know that we might swear and whatever. Have like a little warning disclaimer screen.
Not suitable for
Yep.
rational
Viewer
minds.
discretion advised. All that. Intergalactic shenanigans, excessive swearing, all that. Alright, but yeah, everyone, welcome to episode 44 of Cast in the Shadows. Today we're going to be talking about Star Citizen. Surprise, surprise. First off, this week in Star Citizen. This week in Star Citizen, we've got the fall referral promotion, which just dropped today. Yes, today. Sorry, it's been a long day. So for anyone who doesn't know what the referral program is in Star Citizen, pretty much once you create an account, you'll have the option to enter a code, referral code, in your account creation. And this code is a code given to you by someone else who has an account, or that you find online or whatever. And this code will give you 5,000 not AUEC. I mean, it will give you 5,000. Essentially, it gives you 5,000 in-game credits extra to your account standard. And this can only be applied when you're creating your account. And pretty much the referral program is if I get, say, 20 people to use my referral code every time they create their account and then buy the game, I can get rewards for getting more people into the game. So that's what the referral program is, and they released a new limited time referral program reward, which is a cargo, right? No, troop transport. One of the two.
Yeah, they tend to switch them up on
It's one of the 8 MPUVs. It doesn't. I think cargo. Right, because they just said 1C. Assuming the C is cargo. But yeah,
Sounds
you get.
right.
All you need
I mean,
to do
at one time
is,
it was a dragonfly. And
I want to say last month? 2 months ago? Whenever the last free fly was. But yeah, there's always, these things keep rotating in and out with different prizes, so all you need to do is just get one friend to create an account using your code, and then buy the game, and then you have an Argo MPUV once. Account. Well, both of you get it. And it will be limited time, lifetime insurance. This way you don't have to worry about all that. And for anyone curious, lifetime insurance is not, it's all based on in-game stuff. It has nothing to do with the real world. So like on the website, you bought something with real money. That's part of your account until you delete your account. So, or you like gift it to someone or something. That's not going away.
What are we talking about?
The insurance thing is just exclusively to in-game stuff, and that insurance gameplay isn't even in yet. Don't worry about it. For anyone else concerned. Hey, Cam.
Yep. I take it we're talking about 315 and the inventory system and all that?
Yep, but first we're talking about this week in Star Citizen with the referral program right now. The new referral promotion.
Honestly, a fucking MPUV. What a fucking joke.
Yeah, it's not the best reward. I'd rather take the Dragonfly, honestly, but...
I'd rather take a fucking Aurora.
Well, I don't know. With today's,
Oh,
with
everyone
the new,
loving that
inventory.
MPUV.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying with everyone loving the MPUV, it makes sense, but aside from that...
Well, I mean, with the new inventory system, you now need a ship to transfer your stuff from one place to the other.
Except that the MPUV doesn't have a quantum drive of any kind, so it needs a parent ship in order.
Oh yeah, no, I'm talking about like from the space station to your ship.
Ah,
yeah.
Now, well, bear in mind though that if I were, let's say I go and I spawn in it, or I travel to New Babbage. If I buy some stuff over at the New Babbage Commons, and then I just go grab my spaceship, so I just bought this shit. It goes to local inventory. I then jump in my spaceship and fly up to the space station. So I have not moved anything anywhere. I just bought the stuff. At the space station, I can still access all the stuff I bought at the Commons, because the space station and the city share the same local inventory.
For now, we don't know if that's
For now, yes, for now. Likely that will change in the future, but for now anyway.
And as far as free ships they give people, I mean, they're not going to give you anything super valuable.
No,
It's like
of course
an
not.
Aurora, or I mean, I don't want to say trivial. They're nice little ships, I guess, to have. You can say, yeah, I got some.
They're not going to
free,
give
but
you like a
it's-
fucking blade or
yeah.
glaive or something.
You mean I'm not going to get a C2 Hercules? Come on, man.
Nah, no. They may give you an interest. No, I'm kidding. We got PCAT in the chat saying, "Hello all, just popping in for a little to show support." Thanks, man.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Somebody out there knows we exist.
Right.
They know.
We're not talking to a virtual brick wall. But yes, that's the referral program. That was today. Tomorrow, on Tuesday, will be a lore post, as every Tuesday is a lore post.
You know, if you're really up on this, you would have your code displayed somewhere on your screen.
Yeah, what the frick frack snick snack patty whack?
I have
What kind
the
of bullshit is this?
what's face this week thing on the screen right now. One watching.
No,
this.
your referral code.
Oh, yeah. I could do that easily.
I've never been a fan of it. To me, it just seems so like
What, the referral code itself,
Yeah.
or
no, as far as like when you see like YouTubers or Twitch streamers who
yeah?
have like their code is
No,
permanently
I
up on
hate
the
doing
screen.
it just because it's needless clutter on the screen. You know,
Yeah.
I already have our logo and our title on the screen for branding purposes. People know, hey, this is what this is from. Like that's not a needless clutter on the screen, but like having, you know,
Yep.
a referral code like in the top left corner or something. Why? Like,
Yep.
especially
I'm
when
with you.
it's already in the description. All 4 of our referral codes are in the
Wait,
description,
you expect them to read? My God.
as well as a link to create an
He's
account.
one of those
so.
people who came up under the old education system.
Yeah.
Look,
Yep.
I expect to just be handed everything here.
Well, then you expect too much. PCAT says, "I've been called worse than a brick wall."
By Mando here, or
I haven't called him a brick wall.
Don't feed the monster. Okay, so Monday.
I said that someone can be built like a brick house, but totally different thing.
is Monday even real?
Wednesday.
Believe in it.
Let's see. Wednesday we're getting a monthly report for both Star Citizen Squadron 42, and we are getting the roadmap update as well as the round. So we're getting a new. When was the last time the roadmap has been updated? Why don't I actually just really go to the
Good question.
roadmap
I
and
don't
find
really
it and
check.
find
I
out?
don't know.
Let's see.
I mean, it's every
20th,
week, but I don't
October
think there's
20th.
been major updates to it in a while.
No, but I think it's okay. So it's been updated October 20th, but the last time it was updated before that was something like, I want to say the 6th. It was a long. It's been almost a month, so it's nice that we're getting they're getting back to normally scheduled programs with CIG. You know, now that CitizenCon is over and they're getting back in the swing of Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. Let's see. Thursday is another first Inside Star Citizen since CitizenCon. So that's cool. Obviously, then Star Citizen Live every Friday, and then we're getting some subscriber updates. Well, on Friday.
The new armors do look, the new Pembroke variants look decent.
Yeah, I
They're
really
way
like how they
different
look, how they're supposed to function.
Yeah, they're way different than what's in the game right now. The new ones,
Well,
just in terms
So
of look,
the-
like they're more of a. They look more like cloth insulated suit than this hard armor shell.
yeah. So in 315, so just basic 315, the Pembroke armor has been like that. Just the basic version you can buy in game in stores. The basic version looks exactly like that. The helmet is different than what they showed off for that subscriber armor. The helmet looks almost like an Iron Man almost kind of thing. Wide gold visor.
Oh, they didn't go with the they didn't go with the gold faceplate, with the gold dome faceplate, or did they went with the one with the eyes? I wasn't a huge fan of the eyes.
But one thing I like about this new Pembroke variant, or the new skin overall for it. So again, just the base one that's coming in 315, is that it has that winch on the chest, which I'm hoping that might suggest that down the line, once armor systems are a thing, we might get some repelling.
Yep.
Because I mean, and it's pretty fucking prominent. It's right in the middle of the fucking chest there. So
yeah, I'm just not a fan of the Pembroke style. They look, I don't know, just.
No, are you talking the old Pembroke or the new Pembroke?
Both of them. There's something about the way they're designed that it's almost like they overemphasize each body part to just look like a big sausage. And
you're not wrong.
It's just not a style I'm not a fan of. That's just a personal.
Understand? I call it the Gore-Tex jacket look.
You're not wrong there.
They're designed to be insulated suits, so it's basically just this massive puff of insulation around your body. So yeah, it's not very stylish looking, but it'll keep you alive.
But it isn't really supposed to.
I fully understand what it's designed to do. That makes sense, but just stylistically, I'm not a fan of it.
It's funny because this is probably one of the few suits where they went with function and looking cool.
Yeah,
I know.
Which is why I like it.
I'm fully aware of the dichotomy of my previous statements versus my opinion, but for some reason, I just I don't know.
It doesn't do it for you. That's fine.
Maybe it's the coloration.
No, because I've seen the different variants of coloration, and just all of them look.
What if it was all silver?
To me, it's not about the color. It's the body shape.
The shape and materials of it.
Yeah, it just.
Well, and that's fine.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see what other kind of survival type suits they.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's going to be different varied environments, like more hazardous.
Like I want to see what obviously we know we're going to be getting like acidic atmospheres.
Toxic environments. Yeah.
Or acidic environments. What a suit that's meant to fight off that's going to look like. I do want to see the Pembroke armor in all silver though, but keep the gold helmet. That would look really cool.
I think it'd be one option I think would be cool is if they did like kind of a retro style homage to NASA spacesuits.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
And
like 60s style.
We can likely see, especially as time goes on, and they can do. We might see somewhere here's this really fucking old spacesuit. We don't even know what it's fucking from, but it's old. And it's like the earliest of spacesuits kind of thing.
No, we're talking the earliest ones. I thought we were talking about more like 1960s Man in the Moon style.
Are you talking like retro futuristic, or are you talking like Armstrong?
Like the 90s.
Okay.
90s era, not quite the very beginnings where it's like a guy wearing a silver, bodysuit.
Yeah.
But like the more bulky white ones.
What about
so the real spacesuits?
Yeah, and I wouldn't, and by homage, I don't mean like it needs to look identical, but it would just have enough stylistic to make you go, oh, hey, that reminds me of, kind of a design.
Oops.
All right, so this might be a little bit of a rabbit hole, but
you think?
So right now in the game, undersuits, just your basic undersuit has thruster capacities or they have thrusters on them. I
Yep.
think for the game to make more sense, just your basic default undersuit should not have any thrusters on them. It should be something else that you have to equip.
Well, do you remember the old undersuit design where they had that white harness that was attached to your back?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
it
came
should
like
be some kind of harness with there's going to be a propellant that runs out. So I kind of
Or
hope that they add that in.
what if how would you feel about? Because I agree, but I'm thinking I would be okay if they had like a combination. So depending on the type of suit that you have on, you either just throw on literally like a harness that just has like a tiny little, you know, like very small, almost like what
Capacity,
we
yeah.
have right now, just little thrusters, and that's meant for like when you're wearing a flight suit or just very basic outfit. But if you're wearing something like the Pembroke, maybe you need to put on an actual like backpack that's a little more hefty to be able to handle the mass that it's trying to shove around.
Yeah. I guess I could be okay with like just basic generic thrusters, but I mean, if you think about the way they're going with armor, they don't want you wearing armor in the seat because it's not realistic in the pilot seat because it's so bulky.
True.
You wouldn't do that. So the idea that you have a hard mechanical, maybe not mechanical, but a hard thruster, and you've got to have um, a fuel system running to it, and it's going to connect somewhere. The fact that you would be wearing that while you're in a pilot seat also doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
So just have it like a harness that you just when you get out of the seat, you just like grab it out of the locker and then you're ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, you could have like emergency, little small emergency jets, but if you're going to do any, uh, say you're going to go look at some asteroids or something, it makes more sense to me that it would be like a dedicated harness. And that's not even
Yeah.
plus it
considering
allows you to
how are
upgrade
you going to,
the harness, which means you can upgrade it to have better fuel capacity and stuff like that.
yeah, it also raises the question of how are they going to handle zero G with armor on, because armor
Yep.
does not inherently have jets on it. So
That's where I was thinking if you had two versions. So you have like a small harness that you put on when you're wearing, light air quotes around light equipment. But as soon as you start putting armors on, then you actually need like a thruster backpack
yeah,
to
I
be
was
able to
thinking
do that.
backpack since they're making them modular now.
Yeah. But then that also cuts into, okay, well, now I have this thruster variant, but how do I haul stuff back and forth, from the derelict ship back to my ship?
Yeah. Hey, Argo Cargo. There you go.
Argo
I
cargo
think
always wins.
Knox or the...
to rabbit hole that a little bit more, I
Uh-oh.
think it would be interesting if you could palletize, cargo boxes. So you go around the wreck, you grab all the pieces and parts that you like, and you basically are throwing them into a box. And then once a box fills up, you can make another box next to it. But then basically be able to not containerize, but think of like just throw a cargo net around that. And then you just tractor beam that whole cargo net with whatever's inside over to your ship.
So CargoNet is interesting, but um, when we're talking about cargo right now, you can create a box out of nothing. Do you think that should be a
Right.
mechanic where you just turn something into a container, or should you have to lug empty containers around to put stuff in?
I think you within certain capacity sizes, I think you should be able to just make it appear because you think about it, in space, and I'm talking about in space. On planet is going to be another issue, but in space, I mean, like you think about it, all you basically need is a strap around it to attach it, to two boxes together, and boom, you can tractor beam that thing
Well,
around wherever you want to.
but what
Like,
I mean is, like, eventually they want every item in the game to be physicalized. So you're not going to be carrying a box that has a gun in it. You're going to be carrying the gun. Or you're not going to be carrying a
right,
box that has a piece of armor in it. You're going to be carrying the piece of armor. So
right.
Mhm.
from a gameplay perspective, it'd be a whole lot easier if you could just, you know, say I'm going to turn this into a box so I can transport it. But from
Right.
a reality perspective, it doesn't make any sense that you could just take this item and magically have a box to put it in.
Well, I mean, I agree with that part of it, but then think about like right now, you can go to Walmart, you can get a little laundry hamper that is literally nothing but cloth fabric with like little pieces of plastic in it
Or
that
metal.
basically allow it to expand out into a square shape. But at the same time, you can twist it down into like a little circle patty
Right.
pancake.
My question
Like
was just, do you think it they should go with the convenience of being able to just do that without having to have bought that item and brought it with you, or should it be something that you have to bring with you beforehand? That was my question.
right.
What do you think
I
about it?
guess what I'm saying is that in space,
No one can
I'm
hear you,
okay
Stan?
with thinking that you basically can carry around those pancakes without having to buy them. Like that's just kind of a
A
generic
hand
item
waving
that you,
him, you just have it.
like every ship has, a stack of 50 of them or something. But then on but that's I'm also equating that to you're in space where you don't need structural integrity of the hand wavium box that you create. Like
Yeah.
it essentially just needs to be a couple of
There's
straps
no
or that
possibility for the gravity to collapse it or something.
Right.
right or for what you put, the two boxes you put into it to tear through the bottom, because of how much you
Yeah.
got in it. But planet side, I'm totally with you in the sense that you need to actually you need rugged boxes that can handle, the gravity effects of what you're trying to put into those
Right.
boxes.
Something like the little Covalex boxes that we see all over the Rex.
Right. It like now, if you're on planet side, can you strap a couple of those together if you carry around a strap? I think you should be able to. But then I also think that their weight should come into play. In other words, you strap two boxes together. Yeah, okay, you can pick that up and carry it. Maybe you get some stamina problems, but you strap six of them, you can't pick that up. Like I don't care how strong you are. Like that's just the bulkiness of that is not going to work for you on in a gravity well. That's my thing.
Well, right now, with the way they're using the tractor beam gun, as soon as you pick something up with the tractor beam, as long as it's within the rated weight of the tractor beam, it becomes weightless to you. So,
That part I'd be okay with. I guess
I mean,
I was
that's
thinking of it just more like without a tractor beam, you're just trying to pick something up.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of
If we're
silly,
talking
but
tractor beam,
from a
we have that
gameplay
rifle that's coming out too, so you
and
can use that.
utility perspective, I guess I understand why they do it, even though it doesn't make any sense
So,
logically.
question: do we know if the tractor beam we know that the tractor beam can carry a certain amount of weight, but I'm curious if it's calculated for gravitational effect. In other words, if you're on a planet that has, say, one gravity, does that 500-pound box that you're trying to pick up with a tractor beam that's capable of lifting 500 pounds also have to counteract that one gravity?
I mean, that's a good question because in space, if if you pull something that's heavier than you should both still move, just you're going to move at a faster rate because it has more mass than you.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting whether they model that in or if they just say, well, this is heavier than you, so you're going to go to it instead of it coming to you,
Yeah.
which is the way it works right now, I'm pretty sure.
Yep. Well, I mean, in the past, we had a really messed up EVA system,
Yeah.
and based off of that, I would say they're going to hand wavy them. But now that we are supposedly going to be getting this new EVA, I'd say there's a good chance they might actually do that. They might start calculating tractor beam. I,
I
I,
mean, that's the age-old question of function over gameplay, right?
yep,
Is it
true.
fun or I mean, how hard is it going to be to implement it versus what you're going to get out of implementing it? Is it
Yeah,
worth the extra effort? And in this case, I'm not sure it would be. It would make more sense. I would love it from a sim perspective because I love things to be simulated
yeah,
realistically. It's just more fun to me, but
yep.
it,
I'm
it
with you.
might not be worth it in the end in terms of time and what you get gameplay wise out of it.
True. I agree. for the masses, they probably want the simplistic version, but I'm with you. I would prefer the
I hope not. I like the less. Just having experienced a lot of games lately that are just simplistic to their detriment. I hope not.
Like to me, the idea of like, you know, I got a big giant box. I pull out my tractor beam in space, and I start trying to pull on it, and it's, you know, it starts pulling me towards it. So then I reach out and I grab hold of the wreck, and then because I'm holding on to that now, you know, I can actually pull that thing towards me. I'm all for that, but I know that other people probably wouldn't be.
You know, that's something I haven't thought about. How is push-pull gonna come into? Can you like grab onto something and then use your tractor beam in another hand? That's gonna be kind of cool to see how they get that working.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Well,
but
I mean, you're
we'll
gonna
have to.
they're gonna have to have the mechanic in there, because you're gonna have to be able to one-hand things. Like you're gonna need to be able to use your hacking chip while holding on to something, right?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how it works, because I mean we haven't seen anything about how the tech functions. We just know that they are working on it.
Yeah. The thing that I'm worried about is how much that's going to mean that they need to do what you call it, green screening with the character models to get the animations for all the different types of holds that you might be trying to do while using something else. Like that's just hundreds of permutations.
Yeah, but I mean they could use IK in a lot of cases to make the arms move fluid like towards attachment points, so they don't have to animate every part of the the character model.
And what would IK be, Data?
Inverse kinematics, or
Yeah,
I don't remember the
kinematics.
name, but
Yep.
I mean they
Yeah, I
use
guess
that
they
in
could.
cockpits already for the hands moving to switches and grabbing the flight controls and stuff like that. So
Very true. But I just wonder if like holding on to something with your left hand and doing something with your right hand is is it different enough that it's not just you reaching out and touching a spot?
another
Like
question is everybody going to be right or left-handed? Because right now everyone is, right?
I believe everybody is right-handed because
Everyone's
that's
right-handed
the way
right now.
they have all the weapons.
Now, it makes sense because you're doubling the workload if you have to animate things and have attachment points on the other side of the model. I don't know
Yep.
how easy it would be just to mirror that. You probably just have to copy it. So I wouldn't be surprised if everybody just stays right-handed. But from a um, realism point of view, it would be kind of cool to have people that can choose whether they're right or left-handed.
That sounds like a left-handed statement.
I'm right-handed, I have to say.
Oh,
I am
okay.
a right-handed person.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but those that want
yeah.
to, that are left-handed or just want to have their characters that they're playing as, my character is going to be left-handed or whatever. Because again,
I mean,
there is a roleplay
silly.
aspect to Star Citizen, so.
It's silly for everybody to look exactly the same, and everybody does right now. There's all the sizes are the same. Everybody's animations are exactly the same. So it'd be nice to have a little bit of, dare I say, diversity.
Yeah, but it is still a game. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
One area that a lot of people don't think about is that when you start getting into left and right-handed, you also got to think about all the equipment, because technically, if you're right-handed, your right shoulder area should be free and clear of any equipment that you're wearing, because that's where you put the your rifle butt at. So now, if you switch over to left-handed, now you need to change all that equipment and how it gets worn so that it clears your left shoulder instead of your right shoulder. So now you got to do the same thing with not just the bodies, but all the gear.
Yeah.
So
essentially, every single interactable in the game will now have to be changed to accommodate for that.
So probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
Unless they can work their engineering magic to copy it over. I don't know how hard it would be.
Yeah.
Which would make things take twice as long as they already are, so.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, look, guys, we found the bottom of this rabbit hole.
Yeah. Speaking of getting out of the rabbit hole, though, To Helm 29.
But now we need repelling to get out of it, don't we, Cam?
Yes,
Cam, would you?
Absolutely.
But yeah,
give me my grapple gun and some rope.
Fuck yeah.
Where's your crossbow to attach our rope?
Yes.
That's actually a good idea. Yeah. When the hell are we getting that crossbow?
Grapple arrow. It's supposed to be coming out anytime.
Soon, TM.
Soon, TM.
Tone 29 in the chat says, good to see you, Cast the Shadows. And PCat says, in life, regarding to when we were talking about brick walls.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, the new Pembroke armor though does, I think, it does fit what it's supposed to do.
Yeah,
visually.
Absolutely.
Whether I'm a fan of its design or not.
Good setup. It's just, for me, it's just that personal preference thing.
It's not nice to look at, but again, the heat suit, it's not really supposed to be nice to look at, I guess, right?
I mean, I guess.
I mean, you look at like insulated heat suits today, they're not. It's not like knights in armor.
If you
guys in this tinfoil suit, essentially.
But we could make it. We can make
if
it
you
that
really,
way.
If you really want to drill down on it, I actually personally have a problem with having specific suits for specific environments as the Pembroke is set up. Now, I realize what I'm saying is a broad statement, but what I mean is that, to me, like, you look at a real world astronaut suit, they've got an internal cooling and heating system built into it to handle the drastic changes that you get between sunlight and you know, when the sun isn't shining on
shadow. Because if you're in shadow, it's fucking freezing, and when you're in the sun, you're fucking boiling.
You're going from like 327 degrees to minus 327 degrees. I'm just picking numbers, but it's
it's a drastic change, especially since you don't have the Earth's atmosphere to kind of filter the sunlight or disperse it. And so you're kind of screwed.
I've seen so many posts. Oh, sorry, go on.
Well, basically what I'm trying to get at is I think that the heating and cooling should generally be built in as a sublayer of every suit that you wear, no matter what. Now, where I do think they should have specialization is what we were talking about earlier, like caustic environments, toxic environments, you know, those kind of things, where you might have like that extra bulky layer because it's an actual protective layer from that specific environment.
Yeah, it's like filtering shit out or something.
Yeah, but just for hot and cold, I'm actually not a fan of having a specific suit just for a hot environment, a specific suit just for cold environment.
What about extreme hot and extreme cold? Like things that would tax your normal suit, essentially.
Space is way different than being on a planet with an atmosphere that's 190 C.
True.
Well, one thing too, we might see
zero.
One thing too we might see down the line also is that bearing in mind right now, armor tech is barely in its infancy in terms of where they want it for customization and options and all that kind of stuff. So potentially speaking, it might be that, oh yeah, hey, most armors will be able to protect you from just extreme heat, and for instance, maybe the Pembroke, because they're showing it off with pyro, and it's probably going to feature pretty heavily in like pyro as they roll it out. Maybe it will have filters that, hey, it's specifically designed for volcanic environments where you have all these pollutants and hot ash and other gases that would be hostile to you. Maybe that'll be its shtick. So it's not the heat, although it helps with that. It's also filtering off all this other shit here.
I hadn't thought of radiation as well. So
right,
you guys are
that's true.
Points. Like you're making me rethink it. So that's all good points.
Good. You better.
I mean, you can still dislike what it looks like while still going. I mean, it's functional. I just don't like how it looks. Okay.
I just thought it was worth pointing out. Like, hey, look, it actually looks how it's supposed to for what it does.
How dare you?
it's something that we should commend, considering how we always complain about that. So.
How dare you?
But yeah, we could spend hours on essentially talking around the same useless point.
And so we shall.
But yeah, we got that. Should we talk about the roadmap while we're on it?
There's a roadmap? There's
Sure.
roads?
We can use it to tie into...
I mean, that's a logical step. Why would we do that?
Hopefully, eventually, we'll have roads.
Hopefully, I really hope so,
Soon,
especially
yeah.
like on moons and just even inhospitable surfaces, so I can just drive around and not have to go up and down on little hills and fly for several feet because I'm in a cyclone.
But that's the best part.
Have some street races, literal street races would be nice.
Yeah.
For anyone that's interested, Astropub actually just this last weekend had a good lore reason for why roads will exist, because people have been asking, like, well, why do we really need roads if, you know, we got all these ships and we can basically fly around everywhere? And he pointed out that in CIG's lore mindset is that essentially anything above like an Aurora or a the starter ships are considered to be very very expensive investitures. So they're more geared towards, like, think of it as like a company owned asset. So like your Cutlass and your MSRs are major big ticket items. They're not a family sedan that every family owns. So because of that, it doesn't make sense that you would fly supplies everywhere across the planet. Like your normal mom and pop are driving a truck from the farm to, town to sell their goods because they can't afford a Star Runner. So I just thought that was kind of interesting.
No, and that is a good point.
Yep.
That is a very good point. That these I remember reading a lore post a while back, and this person noted they always wanted to explore the stars. That was their big thing. They wanted to go and be able to adventure and discover new things that no one else ever had. And so it was like they saved up for like 10 years and they bought an Aurora. And that just really shook me out of the story because I'm like, huh? I'm thinking, I'm thinking they bought a fucking Carrick or something, or at least something like a freelancer. No, a fucking Aurora. And it's
because space
and
travel
it really brought that home. That hey, these are fucking expensive.
Right, because space travel in Star Citizen,
family clan.
Yeah, in universe,
it's like so you got this extended family, and they all together have maybe a Cutlass Black, maybe.
Yeah, or at most a Connie, I would say, but. Like, in universe, space travel is mostly something, like, a lot of the people you're going to be seeing traveling around are either they're paying someone else to drive them, right? Like, they're taking shuttles and your Genesis Starliners and stuff, and that's how they're getting around. Or they're part of a company that provides them with a ship to get around, or they're part of the military and they're traveling through military craft.
Yeah, and CR himself has said that he wants gameplay to be that, like, essentially, how did he put it? I'm paraphrasing here, but essentially, like, when you're on a planet or on a moon, he wants you to have all the gameplay options so that you technically don't need to leave that moon. And because of that, he also said the only major traffic that you're going to see is business traffic. You're not going to see civilians just going, from Stanton, from Crusader to New Babbage just because they need to go pick something up. Like that's not the gameplay style he wants.
No, the point is also that a player can be like, oh, I'm gonna play my entire time, like make my character and everything specific to one location. He just can be like the guy that's there, and people come to me at that location, like that. Like, and you can do that when a lot of the mechanics are in.
But because of that, because that's what Chris wants, that also is going to limit the amount of traffic that you see. which makes sense.
Well, player traffic.
With how not well, I'm talking like AI civilian traffic.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be corporate business. You're not going to see AI Bob.
For the most part, you'll still see
You're still going to see a ton of NPC traffic, though.
But you're not going to see skylines filled.
Site.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still. Yeah.
It makes sense to me. Like it
does.
If you were to look at our system, even if we had, let's say, the same amount of light speed travel that we have in the CIG verse, you wouldn't see people jumping into their ship and flying from Earth to Saturn on a Saturday afternoon. Just even if it's, just look at the fuel expenditure costs.
What if I want to propose to my girlfriend on the rings of Saturn?
Yeah. Well, that's where you book the Genesis Starliner trip.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's an expensive trip otherwise.
Right. Yeah, you're not just gonna grab your family car and go. Like
it's like I'd say it's the equivalent of going to another planet in Star Citizen would be like going to another country here. It's an expensive endeavor, and just to have a plane, which is why you pay other people to go on their plane.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there that Astropub it was kind of hitting upon that because people have been asking that same question, like, why don't we have roads or why do we need roads? And they're nailing it down in the lore. So I think we're going to see them.
If for no other reason, we need roads so we can race on them.
Yes, I agree. We need street races.
We need roads so that we can ambush convoys.
Yeah. We need roads so that we can have convoys.
That too.
Dude, I would love to be in like say Microtech. Hey, such and such outpost needs some medical supplies critically. There's some wounded guy there. He dragged himself over there, but he's bleeding out. We can't get a ship over there because there's these fucking terrible storms that are just fucking everything up. Can you go and drive these supplies over there in like in Ursa or something?
Yeah. That's gameplay.
Yeah, that'd be fucking awesome.
Yep.
You got a timer ticking down. You're going, come on. You drifting turns into fucking Ursa.
Guy's having an appendicitis. It's gonna. He's gonna be dead in 48 hours if you don't get this. If you don't take a doctor to him.
And that's another thing is I'd love to have like clinics that are not like on the surface of moons and not just on the city planets. And not just Microtech and not just ArcCorp, but you have clinics like on Daymar, Stellan, Syria, just dotted around. Essentially making the system feel more lived in.
Yep.
People actually live here and there's a infrastructure.
That and I like the like Cam's talking about. I like the idea of the gameplay of hey, I'm just hanging out doing nothing, and there's an emergency call, something to do. Maybe you got in the game because you're just gonna go through and organize your inventory, and all of a sudden your Moby-Glass is like, oh hey, there's an emergency mission. You want it?
I imagine that's how medical gameplay is going to be.
Yeah, I'm hoping so.
Oh yeah.
It's like one of the major things that I did in my military career was we were always on standby for emergency response for maritime. If the Coast Guard got a call that was outside of the range of their helicopters, then we would come in and basically parachute our medics in to stabilize whatever the problem was until the ship got within range of the Coast Guard, and then the Coast Guard would come grab our guys and fly their specialists out. But
sounds fun.
That would be, it only happened maybe 2-3 times in my career, but it was always one of those things that was like 4 in the afternoon on a Saturday afternoon, and you suddenly get a phone call like, hey, you need to get into work. And
all right,
at the time you're like, oh shit, but then it's excitement. So I think it would make good gameplay.
Yeah, I think it'd make great gameplay. I always found the search and rescue aspect of Star Citizen, even in like back in the 2.6 when we had to make it up most of the time. It was very, very fun.
Yeah.
But now that we can actually do it with medical gameplay, and as the gameplay's
on
going to
an
progress.
asteroid in the Yellow Belt. Come find me. 2 hours later. Are you guys ever going to find me?
No. We never did.
Nope. I blame Joseph.
Yep.
That's also why we need a degree in heading marker.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to get on that box today.
No, we've already talked about it to death in previous episodes. So moving on, we got the IAE this year. We got the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo 2951.
Where's that going to be this year?
It seems Microtech.
Okay.
Yeah, same place as last year's.
Yep.
All right.
I'm hoping, and this is just me, I'm hoping that the elevators break again, so I can one last time use my Pisces to taxi everyone from the Commons over to the spaceport.
I don't think others share that opinion, though.
So, since we're on the topic, go ahead.
I was going to say that's a reason for the Argo personnel carrier.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
Yeah, but I prefer the Pisces.
I would say same. Pisces faster and more fun to fly.
No, I can definitely fit more, at least standing up wise. Sitting down, sure, but
I will say in 315, if you do boost maneuvers or sometimes just maneuvers in general, it'll knock people over if they're standing up in their ship. So it's going to be.
So then tell them to go prone.
Make sure your
those
crew
little
is
bastards
seated and
deserve
strapped
it.
in.
So tell them to go prone.
Yeah.
Everyone lie down.
A bug, but I was with a group of guys. We were doing an event, and they filled up a Valkyrie all the way, all the jump seats. And during the flight, I don't remember if they were in quantum or just doing some maneuvers. Everybody got knocked out of their seat and fell on the floor.
Nice.
What about their jump seats though? Don't they have the handles?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a bug, but it was really funny to just turn around and see everybody just
completely floored. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh man, we gotta start doing events again once 315 goes live.
I had an experience one time. I was completely jocked up in full combat equipment for a parachute drop, and we're talking, that's where you've got 60 pounds worth of parachute on you. You've got a weapon that's weighing in, fully bulked out, probably about 12 pounds. And then you've got a rucksack hanging off your waist down to your knees that's probably weighing in at anywhere from 80 to 120 pounds. And you're standing up in the back of a C-130, and all of a sudden the pilot decides that he's missed his drop route and he needs to turn around and come back around, but he doesn't say anything. And so your total all up weight is about 360 pounds, and you're just standing there, waiting, counting the seconds off, basically, come on, let me out of this plane because this shit's heavy. And then all of a sudden the plane starts like banking and turning and pulling G's, and your 360 pounds becomes like 460, 500 pounds, and you just slowly crush down to your knees, and you're just like, fuck me. Yeah, it sucks.
Good times, good times.
Yeah.
All right, for pilot.
Every time I see that in the videos, when I see people getting thrown out inside the spaceships, I'm always laughing because I'm remembering that. It happens in real life.
That's good.
But anyway,
well, I mean, it's not good, but it's good that it works in the video game as it does in real life.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I want to throw in here is I just think this IAE, I think we're going to see a totally different style of ship buying from the general populace because of inventory coming in.
Good point. Good point.
Basically, I think in the past it's been like you've seen the majority of ship sales have been like, I grabbed a couple fighters and then maybe a Cutlass or something like that.
Like a free, like a cargo ship. But now people are probably going to focus more on cargo ships.
Yeah, I think the Cutlass, the MSRs, and the Hercules are gonna just sell like hotcakes because people are suddenly realizing like, oh shit, I need a ship that I can put all my equipment into, to get from New Babbage to Daymar, and have everything that I want with me. So I
Right.
think that's gonna change the ship sales.
And I don't know if this is going to affect anything, but Pyro is going to, it was like 3 times the size of Stanton.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
People that only have fighter ships are going to have a hard time doing anything, assuming they decide to go to Pyro. So uh, larger ships that have like bigger jump drives are going to be more
Which
important
is
in this system.
why the
Yeah, range is
Liberator.
gonna become a serious issue.
Yeah, which is why the Liberator is such a good idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of the IAE, we got the schedule. It starts on November 19th and ends on December 1st. We got, as always, the first day is always Anvil. So probably gonna see the Hornets and the Hurricane. Probably gonna see the F8 Lightning again.
Is that because A,
What?
alphabetical?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, not really, because day 2 is RSI and then day 3 is Aegis. Also, Aegis would be first, not Anvil.
Yeah. Some shenanigans going on.
Shenanigans?
I wonder if it's like which company has more recognizable or better, or just larger ships, or maybe it's an in-universe thing because Anvil and RSI are the 2 biggest military manufacturers, with Aegis at the moment at least kind of trailing behind them as number 3.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some method to madness, but I can't come up
I think
with
it may just be in lore. At least that's the only one I can see at the moment.
I mean, CIG's lore team is pretty thorough, so I don't think it would.
And they work directly with the game
there's
team.
A reason.
I think there's
probably a reason.
I think the reason is probably what they think is going to lead up to the best sales.
Yeah,
that's yeah. And given how Anvil has a very large and robust variety of ships, that makes sense.
Well, also add to that, we don't know what mystery ships they're going to try and sell, but based on what we're seeing in this listing here, I'm going to say that we're going to see something out of Misk and something out of Drake, because those are the last ones. And I'm thinking that's when they kind of, everyone looks at the ships, and then towards the end of the sale, it's like, oh, and by the way, here's some new ships.
Surprise, bitch.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people get excited about concept ships. I really don't care about the concept phase, but
I want to see it in game.
The pipeline is getting more refined, so I wouldn't be surprised to see more ships coming out more often.
And more ships coming out faster.
To see more straight to flyable as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But also ships okay, it was just announced for concept and then it's put in game a lot sooner than say 3 years ago.
I would really be curious to know how many ships they still need to get functional for Squadron 42 to be complete. How close are they to that goal?
Well, we'll find out, I guess, with the monthly report on Wednesday. Or Thursday.
But I mean, how many ships have not been started or are still in the pipeline that are required for Squadron 42 to ship that aren't out yet?
Yeah, because they don't tell us
even know about. Yeah.
No, I have no idea.
I mean, the conjecture for several years has been that most of the ships that we've been seeing that got fast tracked were fast tracked because they needed it for 42. Yeah. So I agree.
Honestly,
that would be interesting.
The best way to get the answer would be look at the progress tracker and then spend hours looking for every ship on the progress tracker that's not finished. That has a Squadron 42 tag on it.
Yeah, but that's assuming that they have them listed. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bunch.
Well, they'll have things that are just unlisted, and you can guess. But yeah, that's pretty much that's the best way you can get your answer, if you can get it at all.
Get a semblance of an answer.
So who makes what what is the ballista? Who makes that?
Anvil.
Anvil?
Yeah, and they're making that new variant, right?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. But then Anvil being the first of the show kind of throws a wrench in my original idea that the sales is driving it. But because then if the new model is gonna be an Anvil ballista version,
yes, which you can see here,
it would be at the back.
I don't know though. It doesn't necessarily make sense to me that all the ships that they would want to sell would be the last to be shown.
True. Maybe they start out with like, oh hey, because we're beginning, here's a
yeah, maybe they want to start out with the Anvil stuff, and supposedly there's a new MISC ship in the works, right?
That's people are basing it because one of the pictures in this video, one of the screenshots, there's a MISC label on the bulkhead behind him. I don't know where exactly in the video it is. It's when he's shaking hands with the stick.
You mean Stig?
Stig.
Well, here's
Stig.
the showroom.
No, there's one specific shot where they're inside a ship, and it looks. I think it might be that the Stig is trying to like give him a hug.
Oh,
but in the background on the bulkhead, there's a MISC. Actually, go back. Sorry. Oh, right.
No, don't worry. I have it playing in very slow.
We're on a delay, so it's hard for me.
That's the Redeemer. That's the Argo.
Not that. It's coming up.
I know. Here. Yeah, there's a MISC. The MISC ship because you can see by the chair over here.
I wonder if all this is carefully planned, or if it just happens to show up in the video.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's planned. Just based off of how long it takes them to make it, to make the videos, the production time and value and everything that's put into it. I don't think anything gets by them nowadays. In the past, did they let things slip by without realizing it? Yes, but I think they've learned enough times from having that done that I think any videos we get out of them nowadays are highly curated.
Yeah.
Agreed. There's also a large focus on the Redeemer, so we're probably going to see that during Aegis on day 3.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to see them go, hey, now it's available.
The real question is, are we going to see the Ares on day 5 with Crusader? Because that was featured in the video as well, but
it should be very close to being flight ready.
Yeah, they both should be. So.
I know a lot of people are into the Ares series of ships. For me, I'm not going to be buying one, but I'm glad that they're in the verse just for that diversity factor.
Options.
But yeah, I know there's quite a few people who are like, "Give me my A10."
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be quite what they hope it's going to be in terms of firepower.
Yeah.
But
well, those people are also going to be the ones using it in like dogfighting.
Isn't it like a size 7?
It is a size 7
gun. It's a monster.
The question will be either the cost for replenishing it, or how often for the laser version, how repeatable is it, time wise?
Well, it's not a repeater. It's a laser cannon or a ballistic Gatling.
It has no turret, so you're going to have to support it with something, because if you don't, then it's just going to get picked off super easy.
I mean, you essentially got to treat this thing like it's a freaking like it's a bomber. It fills that same role in a way. So it needs support and it needs cover.
People want to think of it like the A10, but the A10 can hold its own. I don't think the Ares is going to be able to hold its own. I mean, it's going to.
I mean, look, we could be wrong, but we don't know.
Could be wrong, but I mean, you're not going to be dogfighting with it. So
no, I don't think you will.
The A, I think the big difference is that the A10 was designed to be like down in the valley with the troops, picking off tanks. Like that was its #1 job. Whereas in space, you don't have a valley, so you can't hide in the terrain. And that's where I think, yeah, like Data's saying, people aren't understanding what the A10 actually was designed
you don't
to be
have
able
the
to do.
environment to navigate and to use as cover.
Exactly.
Which is why I'm saying this is essentially it's kind of an alternative to an actual bomber, but still fits the bomber role. You need cover and you need support fire for it. Otherwise, it's going to be completely vulnerable. Despite its heavy gun, it's only got one.
Yeah.
And
well,
it's
it
not
makes
invincible.
me wonder if they initially concept it as like to take out the Tonk, but then they just forgot about that concept and are just selling it as a ship.
It's essentially the space version because it's specifically targeted, specifically designed to take out a capital ship, an Idris.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I imagine
space Tonk.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, all I was going to say is, I wonder what I was getting at is, I wonder if they initially came up with a concept for it, like, hey, we need something that'll take out the Tonk. And then as it developed, they forgot about that and went, no, it's going to be the capital ship killer. But yet it still retains some of that original idea, like, oh, it was meant to take out the tank,
I have no idea.
I think the Redeemer would probably be a better ship. I mean, it's supposed to be a good ship.
Yeah, I agree.
But I was going to say, I imagine 10 starfighters, whether it be the Ares or the Inferno. Is that the right name, Starfighter?
There's no Ares, Inferno, and then Ares, whatever the other variant is.
Okay, anyway.
But the Ares is both names.
Like, 8 to 10 of those rolling up on an Idris could do a lot of damage really quick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If it's supported properly, like you guys have been talking about, they will be effective, but you need that support. I absolutely agree.
One thing that I really wonder how the dynamics are going to play out when we get into large scale ship battles, because in real life, chaos. But in real life, you have a whole bunch of ships coming together. A large majority of those ships are going to get destroyed.
Yep.
Generally speaking, and if you look at World War II, you're sending out hundreds of bombers. 15 to 20% of them are going to get shot down in each sortie. So it really makes me wonder how the dynamics are going to play out between fighters trying to cover bombers, with fighters trying to take down the bombers, with fighters trying to take out fighters. It's going to be interesting how it plays out.
Well, here's the other thing, Data, that I think a lot of gamers forget about is that they envision what you were talking about, like, the battles of yesterday, but what they fail to take into account is the only reason those battles are possible is because of a command structure that everyone follows.
True.
And I mean, come on, let's face it, unless it's a very, very dedicated organization, you're just going to have chaos. You're going to have people doing their own thing that aren't supporting, the Inferno on its gun run, and the Infernos are just going to get ripped apart because, Bob and Fred and Ted, who were supposed to be supporting them, got more interested in doing something different, chasing somebody else off. So that's why when I said chaos, I literally mean chaos, because the organizational part of it is going to be so hard to get dedicated people who are willing to follow a battle plan.
Yeah, well, that's why you need to have communication and someone who actually knows what to do.
Yeah.
When you think of like large scale battles or whatever, there's always the hero in the ship that survives, and everybody has that idea that they're the hero. But when you get 50 people fighting each other, not everybody's going to be the hero. There's going to be people that die, and I don't know. It's just going to be interesting to see how that plays out, where your power fantasy gets destroyed.
You're a snowflake, just like every other snowflake.
You're as expendable as everyone else.
Yep.
But I'm special, just like everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What exactly?
And that's actually
that specialness is called expendable.
No, that's actually something that's important to think about, because I'm in absolute agreement. And I find a lot of games nowadays are not fun to play because they're trying to cater to that everybody is the hero. And after a while, it's just not fun gameplay because guess what? We're all just the same vanilla thing.
It's kind of it's the lack of unique. I guess the lack of difference, right? Everything's the same. Nothing's different.
To put it in perspective, it's like for D&D, you can't. Not everyone should be, a fighter that's capable of also being a rogue who's also capable of being a wizard.
You aren't a Skyrim stealth archer.
Why do you have,
Nice.
why have a wizard, rogue, and a fighter if you're going to be all three of them all at the same time?
Right.
There's a reason to have those classifications.
Even okay, let's use a Star Citizen organization example. Like, there's a lot of player-created organizations in Star Citizen where they do everything, or do pretty much most of everything. And the problem with that is the organizations are supposed to, or at least in my opinion, they're supposed to be role-specific. You're supposed to focus on, I'd say at max 3 jobs, like 3 types of professions.
Right.
Give or take, but it's like you have that, and that's what you focus on. That makes you good at it, and that's why people would go to you, and why you have an organization that's successful in the first. It's your commitment and your quality of work in that specific field, which makes your organization different, unique, and stand out.
I'm different.
I agree, but I also think that's also, you're approaching the concept of org from one perspective, and I think there's other people who approach it not so much as like a profession, but more like a band of people who are going to play together, and they're just going to do everything. Yes. But I don't think they're going to be.
Well, there's 3.
There's
heroic. 3 then. You got the one I mentioned, what you just mentioned, where it's just like a bunch of guys just want to play together, and they're just inviting anyone because they're not making an org for like in game, like business. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. It's kind of just like, hey, do you guys just want to get together and play, like a gaming group rather, type of org. And then you have the orgs that are essentially just we do everything to try and to appeal to everyone, which again is not again. It's a failed
think those
tactic.
are gonna fail.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen some already fail, and they don't even have the mechanics in game yet.
Yeah. But okay. We're once again found bottom.
Off topic.
I don't.
Also, apparently, Cam is now a turret, but
always.
I'm different.
Where do you see a turret?
Turret.
Turret.
Oh yeah, that too. But I'm not disagreeing. What's actually really ironic is I'm playing Fallout 4 right now, and I'm actually holding a turret in my settlement.
Nice.
You know what you need to do? You need to have a mod that makes it say I'm different whenever you're fine.
So, Mando, could you bring the video back up and go to the point in the video where it's showing that orange back end of something that is
looks
very
like an Argo ship?
Argo looking?
Yeah, yep, there we are. Oh. There we are.
And I realized that I just, gave you my opinion of what it is, but I'd be interested to hear what you guys are thinking that is. Because supposedly...
It's not the mole?
It's not the mole. Theory is that it's either the... what's the tow truck?
SRV?
Oh.
The SRV or the raft from Argo.
Riftity raft.
I'm just curious what your guys' interpretations are.
I guess it depends on which end of the ship is this.
Don't know.
Ask questions, first of all.
Because that can easily be a cockpit embedded in between these, in between this section here, these 2 walls.
But then what's your view like out of that?
Oh, it's shit. But I'm just saying that's like obviously this, at least first glance, looks like the rear of the ship. So which means that the thrusters are kind of off camera. I can see, I guess, maneuvering thrusters over here in the corner of the screen, but I don't see the main thrusters.
Or could those be some kind of expansion, like posts that come out from the side? Maybe we're only seeing a side view? I don't know.
Oh, this could be the side.
Enhance.
Yeah, say that again.
Enhance.
Stroke the keyboard, push a bunch of buttons, and make it zoom in and clarify.
Right? Just go like done. Soon did it end.
Clickety clack, clickety clack.
No, not even. Just smack the keyboard with your open palms. See what happens. You know what? Instead of trying to guess, let me pull up an image of the SRV.
No, I won't.
Oh God! Now we're making sense. This is gonna fail.
I mean, totally
What
is.
have you done, callsign? It's all your fault.
Yeah,
Yep,
what the fuck?
once again.
You
Well,
have
that's
no
why you
one
guys
but
bring me
yourself
here,
to
right?
blame.
Wait, we brought you? I thought you just crawled in on your own.
Okay, definitely not the mole. I think it's the raft. I'm looking at the SRV, at least concept art. Unless they change some colors up.
Yeah, concept art for the SRV was more of a yellowish, wasn't it?
No, it's still orange.
Is it? Oh.
I literally have it on screen right now if you want to look. Yeah, because the rear is obviously got that giant tractor beam, so unless there's a close up on one of the engines, let me get a closer look here. I think we're looking at the new ship. I think we're looking at the raft with the over here.
The only reason
supposed to be?
we don't know.
Okay.
Nobody seems to know. But the reason I'm thinking it, for some reason, I'm just getting a big vibe off the picture that somehow those things are like posts that are that can telescope out.
It looks like they are. They look like they have a slot here.
So my thinking would be if you had a tow truck, you can't always like pull up and get exactly where you want, where you need to be to get the perfect tractor pull on it. So what if you had, these kind of things to kind of go up and
like
nudge it around
clamps or something?
to get it in position that you need it in before you start towing it? That's the only reason I'm thinking it might have a chance of being the SRV. Otherwise, I agree that it's probably the raft.
Also, the SRV looks a lot bigger than this ship. This ship just looks a little smaller.
Okay.
I don't know. That's what I'm getting from this image. Obviously, it's a close-up image, so I could be completely wrong. But
yeah,
like you're also not seeing the black, like the prongs that make up the engine.
true.
There's
a reason why they only showed us that.
So I think it might be the new ship. I think it might be the raft.
Yeah,
I just hope this is
no
not the
idea
front.
what the raft's supposed to do. I haven't heard anything. I don't know if anyone else has
things, stuff, the usual.
Well, Kim, you've been more in the know about all the leaks than any of us, I think. So share us
I
the leaks.
believe if forced at gunpoint here, I want to say that it's a cargo ship, and it's supposed to. And again, this is just if I'm just really going back in my head here. I want to say that there was going to be some kind of like a modular pod system to its cargo carrying. So similar to kind of how the Argo MPUVs are supposed to be able to detach their back section and pick up a different section and do stuff with. It was going to be something like that, and similar to how like the Mole and the Prospector have the bags that will be detached and moved around.
Or the Carrack has those shipping container on the belly.
Something along those lines, and I want to say around like freelancer size, so like Connie size, somewhere in that ballpark. So not huge, but
well, that would kind of make sense because for the to be able to handle what is it, the Hull E, the big giant cargo sucker.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to need something above the Argo to offload that thing. So that would kind of make sense to have that kind of mid-level cargo hauler for short, what I'm imagining as short trip hauling, i.e. like station to planet side and back.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, in the Holo viewer, I'm not seeing anything close to
No.
what on the SRV. So, yeah, it probably is the raft.
And now I'm just. But yeah, I think it's the new ship. So we're gonna be getting what, possibly three new ships at IAE this year.
Potentially.
Yeah.
We got the Redeemer, we're getting the Ares, and now we're getting this Argo raft.
Plus, pretty much guaranteed whatever that land vehicle is.
Right, the Ballista variant.
Yeah.
Atlas or some shit.
And the X1 should be coming fairly soon.
True. That it's actually the Atlas. So when you're calling it the Ballista, you're actually calling the missile carrier version. So technically,
right, so technically the Ballista is a variant of the Atlas platform. Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, from what I've heard is there's like a main frame of the vehicle, and the Ballista is one variant of that frame.
Yep.
Exactly.
I think it's the Atlas platform
is the frame.
Yeah.
And what's the new one? What's the new variant that they're coming out with?
Well,
called?
We don't know for sure, but the theory is it's either going to be an infantry fighting vehicle or it's going to be a medical version.
Well, I meant, do we know what the name of it would be?
No.
I want to say the Atlas or something. Or it's the Atlas platform.
Yeah, the Atlas is the name of the base chassis, and the stuff that gets put on the back of it will probably determine the name.
Yeah.
But I mean so right there you're looking at potentially four different types of vehicles being on sale.
Yep.
I wonder if this vehicle has anything to do with now I'm blanking on the name. The large scale battle stuff they've been working on. What's it called?
You lost me.
Was it Theaters of War you were thinking?
Yeah. Theaters of War. I wonder if it has anything to do with.
It's possible.
I don't know. Rumor is that Theaters of War is dead in the water for the foreseeable future.
Well,
I mean, I can totally understand why, because the desync issues they've been having are.
Not to mention the fact that also Firesprite got bought out by Sony. But I heard that wasn't supposed to be affecting DIG's deal with them.
No,
I've also heard that's complete BS.
They had
go ahead.
They had a forum post stating that their work with Firesprite will continue until the end of the contract.
Okay.
Right, but there's also people in the know basically said that's PR speak for, yes, we will meet the contractual obligations we're required to, but we're also not going to put any special effort into.
But it's not their priority anymore.
Exactly.
Right.
And it kind of, and that makes sense, because I mean, you think about it from Sony's point of view, like, hey, we just bought this production studio.
They're ours now.
Do we put 40?
Another
I'm just picking a number.
Yeah.
Do we put 40 people, 40 people into fulfilling that contract, or do we only, we only put the required 6 people on that contract, and the rest we task with doing other stuff, which would mean, okay, yes, the contract is being met, but it's also not going to be met as quickly as when Firesprite was doing it on their own time. So,
well, I mean, that's assuming that everybody at Firesprite was working on it to begin with, which I don't think is.
I don't think it was everyone, but regardless, it's now that they're owned by Sony, essentially Sony is the one calling the shots, because they're now a Sony-owned studio, and they can say, "Hey, look, we're not prioritizing this anymore because it's not one of our projects. We need you guys to work on something that for us." So that means less manpower and less time and money. All that's going to be going into Theaters of War.
But now to throw the counter argument that has also been thrown around into the mix is the idea that Sony may also be looking at Firesprite as a chance to have a foot in the door if CIG ever decides to go to console.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That,
it's possible.
if they do, if Sony has Firefly, do a good job on completing the contract, then, if CIG ever does go to the console, Sony can be like, hey man, remember when we helped you out? Why don't you come our way first?
And they can release
Absolutely.
They can release Star Marine as a standalone game, as an FPS game.
Well, what I was going to say is, I mean, this is pure conjecture, but if they could get Theaters of War working, that could be an interesting console title also.
Yeah, we had talked about this on a few shows back ago. I don't know if you were here, Data,
I don't think
but
I was.
the theory is that, basically Arena Commander, Star Marine, and Theaters of War, and potentially Squadron 42 and its subsequent chapters could all be very easily ported to consoles to help not only make money, but to draw people into the PU side of it as well.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how
it would make
easily
sense.
it would be to port Squadron 42 because I imagine the
No,
footprint of the
Squadron
game is
probably
gonna be
not
massive,
because
but-
it's still it's pretty much it's like a in terms it's not going to be as large as Star Citizen because it's not the open galaxy on MMO online, but it's still going to have pretty much a semi-open galaxy. There's still going to be large. You're still going to have like full star systems and stuff like that in any
If you
level.
think about it, Crusader right now with all the content that we have is over it's over 100 gigabytes, isn't it?
Yes.
No, it's like 70.
But we don't know if you'll have the full universe because we don't know where 42. We know what system it's basically starting out in, but we don't know. Like, to port that game over, you don't need all 105 systems.
No, but you're still going to have just one star system. May not be a console may not be able to run one star system.
My point was just that Crusader on its own is like 70 gigabytes, and we know that Squadron 42 is going to be more than just one system, more than one just one planet. So it's probably going to be, if I had to guess, probably around 200 total.
So a Call of Duty game.
Yeah.
I said it as a joke, but it's an unfortunate reality. Most AAA first-person shooters today are around 200 or more gigabytes. So.
Well, part of the problem too is that, especially nowadays, the
lack of optimization.
The working idea seems to be that, oh hey, we're making this game, and okay, we've made the game, and now we're looking at what does it take to run the game, and holy fucking shit, it takes a lot. And where before the developers would go, okay, we have to find every possible way to go and reduce the amount of memory usage here, or otherwise we can't ship. And there would be like if you remember hearing about like Pokemon, and there were all the weird and wacky things that are tied together simply to go and save memory. Whereas nowadays, the working solution is we'll just tell them that they need to download more RAM. And there's little attempt at optimization because we don't need to.
A lot of the time, also, a lot of these AAA companies don't want to optimize because it takes time, money, and effort. When they just want to get it out there and make a quick buck, essentially.
No, that's it.
So that's why you end up with a Call of Duty that's like I think it was like 180 or 200 something gigs the last one. Call of Duty Cold War. It was a lot.
I mean,
a lot.
It's not trivial to make a game that big, and if you don't have a team or if things aren't being notated properly, then it's totally possible for things to just get forgotten by people, and you got this big chunk of bloat that's not even being used.
Yep. No, absolutely.
I think if they want to do it, they'll find a way to do it. But again, I think this is all conjecture. Like,
it's totally just this.
We're literally just theory crafting here. So.
Yeah.
So I got another idea, but That's depending on if we've moved on. I don't know if we have another topic.
Really, just All-Star Citizen today.
Oops, All-Star Citizen.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
Yeah. So the last couple weeks, I don't know why, but I've started thinking about the Endeavor more and more. Just kind of like, oh yeah, what's going on with that? Like, what could it do for gameplay and all that? And what's got me kind of worried is all of a sudden this past week, I'm starting to notice like YouTubers are all talking about the Endeavor, like, oh hey, IAE's coming up. You need to buy this ship. It can do this and this and this, and it's only $350, and it's going to turn into a capital ship, so it's going to go up in price to like $1,000. Like, it's becoming a topic, and I'm a little worried because I'm like, man, am I starting to think like the YouTubers, or are they starting to think like me?
Either way, it's a scary thought.
That's a scary thought. But I wanted to ask what you guys think, because there's some really interesting verbiage in the original write-up for it, and I 100% recognize that pretty much what's written is probably not going to happen in the way that we think it will. But for an example, there's a telescope package that you're gonna be able to attach to this thing, and the way they wrote about it was that with that telescope, you're supposedly going to be able to see or to find other jump points in other systems. So you don't even have to be in that system.
I remember that.
Yeah, that's totally going to be changing.
It's in the write-up, so it makes me wonder, like, what else, is this thing going to be able to do?
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's got a collider that supposedly under the old verbiage was going to let you overclock systems.
Collider, I barely know her.
And somebody brought up a good point that I had asked this question to yesterday, was like, okay, well, what about like capital ship weapons? Will you be able to upgrade those? Overclock those? How do you take a size 12 gun turret off of, the what you call it, the Bengal, and like, how do the mechanics work? Yeah. Like,
well, the answer is carefully.
In a timely manner. But like what? You just get within a certain distance of it, or do you have to have a hangar bay that it fits into?
No, you have to have a Argo CRTV ship, and that will rip the gun off, and then from there you can go and modify it. Well, you have to do it on a per gun basis.
What is the biggest gun that they have modeled right now that you can look at?
Railgun?
Whatever's on that.
Idris railgun.
No, I mean that you can buy in a shop.
Oh, in a shop?
Size 6.
Like a size 6? Okay.
Yeah.
So those are pretty big, but they're not like capital size cannons.
Turret. Yeah.
I would be very surprised if you could take those off the ship, honestly. I don't imagine there's going to be too many weapon upgrades for capital class ships in terms of weapons.
You never know.
So where do you draw the line at? Which one? Like
right
which
here.
Level?
Right. See where I'm drawing it? Like right there.
Well, I mean, Ares has a size 7, so clearly. Well, I don't know.
Okay.
Those I'm not sure you'd be able to buy those either because they're made specifically for that vehicle.
But
so
what about like
what about them?
What is that? The I'm trying to Polaris? That's a Corvette. So does that fall into capital size? Like,
I don't know.
That's the question I'm asking. It's like,
I would say that really depends on what size weapons it has.
Okay.
All of them. I hear you say, but Cam, that's not how that works. Don't care.
By the way, call sign, the image right there is of the Super Collider module.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. I've heard of super colliders, but where's the regular collider? Eh?
If I hit you, that will be a regular collider.
So I like from day one of seeing this ship, I've always been interested in it, but at the same time, I've just like I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay, it's got some really cool gameplay aspects, possibly air quotes, around it, but man, that thing's just going to be a sitting target, and that's what's keeping me from actually buying one.
Like honestly, this is going to be your mobile base surrounded by capital ships in a fleet. That's really the only, either that or having it in orbit around a planet as like a base. But either way, though, you're gonna have it be protected because this is essentially just your base.
Yeah, exactly. Which to me is I mean, that's great that it's there in the verse and everything, but that's just not my gameplay style. Like
I would love to have one.
It's great that you want to run an organization, Mando, but that's not something I want.
No, I'm just saying I would love to have one just for our org, just so that we can have the mod, like the hangar module or the hospital module. We can have our private own hospital. But aside from that, I really don't. I wouldn't really be having it. It'd be cool to be on other people's, but again, other people would have it, not be able to visit. I don't see why I'd need one myself. But
and remember too, there's going to be NPC ones floating about from all kinds of factions and stuff.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Hey, here's a UEE ran or advocacy ran one that has all these modules used as a floating base or R&R facility for them to pull back from the front lines.
There's also the farming variants and the exploration variants modules. I mean, for the Endeavor. So. You're gonna have.
Are you reading what I'm reading, Data?
No, I'm just listening to all the different variants and types. And
gotcha.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
I was reading the note that our guest.
Oh yeah, maybe one says maybe now you won't slime a guy with a positron collider, huh? Peter Venkman from the movie Ghostbusters, the good one.
So is the collider supposed to be like a science thing?
I assume so. I think that's just the R&D, the science module.
Well, so here's how they wrote up things. So there's different modules, and in the science section, there's an actual science module, then there's a research module, and then there's the super collider, and then there's the telescope. The telescope is supposedly supposed to let you go explore other systems without having to be in those systems. Right. That's how powerful it's supposed to be.
Well, I can easily go and redo that telescope module and just say it's a if you have scanner data from another system.
I'm just talking about what they wrote it down as. The super collider, to me. The way they wrote it up doesn't really make sense because basically you've got a super collider, but its sole purpose seems to be to overclock weapons. That's it.
That's not how that works, right?
Right. That's my thing.
Like if there's like a chemistry thing that like a subset of science or something, and you're using these rare materials, you're able to create with the collider. Then let's say it's like, oh hey, you can get these rare chemicals. You could build a collider at like a very large settlement or outpost kind of thing, or you could have one mobile kind of shit. But that doesn't seem like what they were going for.
When was the Endeavor page or whatever written up? How long ago has it been?
All that stuff must be outdated. It was back in 2000. It was at least 5 years ago.
I'll bring it up. It's going to take a second, though.
That was before object bind calling and all that.
So. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
No, this ship is from like 2013, 2014.
Yeah, something like that. It was one of the early ones.
So it's probably going to have to be rethought of.
Oh yeah,
ground up.
Right. Like, okay, to give you an example of just how out of date it is, they originally conceived it to only be 200 meters long. but yet it's supposedly going to house multiple Cutlass Reds. And if you look at the module, the hanger module that they provide to do that, it can't even fit a single Cutlass Red in it right now. So it's like they've done, some people have done some work to try scalings and stuff, and basically it's going to have to double its size. It's going to have to go from 100% to 200% in size just to fit 2 Cutlasses.
You know, back then, 200-meter ship probably sounded pretty big.
It did, yeah. That was, yeah, that was then.
Well, but yeah.
I'm trying to read here. I'm in the wikis page trying to find when it was originally put out.
They're also going to have to rethink the entirety of that hospital module that they talked about earlier on because of how medical gameplay works now, that they actually have a refined system.
Yeah. It's, yeah, but again, you think about like what it's going to have to do, and that's why the community right now really seems to be locked on to, you should buy this thing now because it's only $350
only.
And when it goes through all that rework, that reconceptualization to match what it's supposedly going to do, you're going to have a $350 capital ship that's going to be almost the size of a Bengal carrier.
Yep. Or you can just be like me and grind for it in game when it eventually comes out 5 years from now, at least.
Yeah.
I can understand the idea of people wanting to buy it now if they were going to buy it to begin with, but
right.
I think the gray market has changed the way some people think about buying ships, and I don't think it's for the benefit of the game either. As in buying a ship now and then selling it later for, you know, increased gray market price or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest. I do have 2 ships that I'm kind of eyeballing right now that I'm kind of like, I really don't see myself utilizing those. But the only reason I'm holding on to them is because I'm thinking when the game does finally release, I'm not going to try and sell those on the gray market, but I'm going to sell them in game for in-game currency for initial startup fund. You know?
I mean, if they're ships that you bought with real money, then I don't think you're able to. They're tied to your account.
Yeah, well, you're gonna. I don't think you'll be able to sell what you literally own.
Yeah, if you pledge for it with real money, then you will not be able to sell it or transfer it to other people.
Theoretically.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to change that either. If you buy it in game, then you can do whatever you want with it. But real money purchases are non-tradable, I'm pretty sure.
I guess you can make the argument that he can always gift it to someone's account.
Somebody in game for some in-game money, and then they just get to use it until it blows up, or you have to get insurance or whatever.
There's that too.
There you go. Rent it out to people. Much better.
Yeah. Not even renting. You're literally selling that ship until it, you know, they blow it up. They blow it up. You're not covering their.
It's a you own it until it's lost, and it's money.
Yeah. Unless they're going to pay you insurance. Yeah. Essentially, you lost it. That's it. You lost that ship because you just bought it from another player. You want to buy it again, you can buy it again, or you can buy it again and then get insurance and that.
Well, in this instance, though, it's essentially renting.
Yes.
By another name.
Yeah. And the way the claiming system works now, anytime you claim a ship, then technically you are getting a brand new ship. You're not getting the ship that you had before because they all have unique serial numbers now.
Do they the insurance claims?
You come across a wreck like years down the line, and it's one of fucking yours.
That would be awesome.
How do you get rid of a ship?
If you bought it with real money, then I guess maybe you can melt it for store credit, but otherwise you can't.
Or gift it to someone.
See, I think that's going to be a long-term problem because eventually you're going to have accounts that are just sitting. Basically, you're going to have servers that are just sitting there with ships on them that nobody's using, and is never going to use again. And that's where I'm not saying that you should be able to go in and sell that ship to another player in game, but I think there should be a way that you can say, hey, I no longer want this ship that I bought for real money. I'm going to go to a trader in game that's an AI and sell my ship for whatever the current value is of that same ship in game money. In other words, I've got an Aurora. I want to sell it in Aurora. I bought it originally for $40 US. In game, it's worth 2 million AUC. So I want to get 2 million AUC in game. But by going through that transaction, you're gonna definitely have to not sign something, but check the block that's saying, yes, I recognize I am getting rid of a real world currency item that I purchased with money. Through this process, I'm getting rid of that item permanently from my record.
That sounds like a nightmare for CID.
It also sounds like it's going to be abused, and that's the problem with anything. Why? That's the problem with anything involving the real world.
You're taking real money and turning it into in-game money.
Plus, here's the thing: anything involving real world money and ships.
Only you, the account owner, can do that.
No, but that's
not like you can't trade it to somebody. So you're not allowing that game mechanic. This is specifically a way for you to get rid of something you never are going to use on your account again.
I mean, I can understand them doing that through the website, but not in game.
Yeah.
Okay, one at a time, guys.
Sorry. It makes more sense to me that you would just melt it like you normally would, and you would get store credit value of whatever the monetary value of that ship would be in real money, and then you could spend it on whatever you want. I imagine, don't they already have AUC packs that you can buy?
I think they got rid of that.
Or they will have probably UEC money packs that you can buy. So I imagine.
I hope not, like but.
And your argument about servers full of ships, that's not really going to be a problem because when a ship is despawned, it's just a database entry. So it's not going to be taking up
sorry, I used the wrong terminology. I meant you got spreadsheets in the background that are just filled with junk is what I'm trying to get at. Like, in other words, they're spending effort to maintain inventories that are never going to get used again, and that's just bad business.
I mean, maybe it is, but if you think about what they're trying to do with physicalized inventory, they're trying to keep track of just about everything in the game. So I think ships are just going to be like the tip of the iceberg in terms of the amount of data that's going to be stored. And they're going to do that anyway because they want that kind of fidelity. So I don't think it's going to be that big an issue.
I was about to say they're going to be doing that anyways. Say you're playing for 6 months at a time, then you're playing like pretty much consistently once a week, whatever for whatever amount of hours. And then for an entire year, you're not playing because of whatever reason. Insert a reason there, but you're not playing for a year. That's essentially the same thing. None of your stuff's going to be being used and all that, so it's going to be a database entry.
I guess what I'm talking about is let's imagine 6 years after launch, you've got like whole generations of game players who've come in, bought their ships, played the game, and left. Second generation came in and did the same thing, and now you as the company, you now have X number of ships that are never going to be used again because those people have just left. Like, I'm not talking inactivity for short periods of time. I'm talking like that ship hasn't moved
still, for years. If they've left the game, if they bought an account, they played for a bit, or maybe they even bought an account and they just never picked it up again, it's still their ship. If they want to come back after 8 years, 10 years, 15 years,
yeah, I know, Cam.
Let me go and do it.
What I'm trying to get at is you've got all of that going on. So wouldn't you, like, you're having to maintain that? I'm not arguing that you should get rid of those.
Like database-wise?
Database-wise, what I'm saying is you've got all of that going on. Wouldn't you, as a company, want a way that players can actually say, hey, I don't want this ship anymore.
Yeah, it's called the gray market.
Give me some in credit so I can go buy a different ship that I actually do want. And that cuts down on the amount of database that you're having.
I can pretty much guarantee they won't do it.
Okay.
Not the way you're talking about. Now, if they do like an account on the website where you melt it and get like
A UEC.
like
Some
tokens or whatever that
equivalency
you can,
of
yeah.
UEC or something.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well,
But
they give you monetary value that you could use to buy another ship or purchase a UEC pack or something, but they're not
yeah.
gonna in game transfer real world money into UEC in game.
No.
That's not gonna happen.
Well, also too, there's too much potential for abuse.
That's
I mean,
that's
for
what I
example,
mentioned earlier.
hey,
It's going to be
well,
abused. Totally.
For
One at a
example,
time, guys.
oh hey, my brother was playing on my account, and he said, "Oh, I'd like some more in-game cash. Sell, 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 sell. Shit, all my ships are gone." Now that's on the person for letting their brother, whoever, play that, but still.
No, but even say someone's account gets hacked, like that's not that person's fault who got hacked. They're a victim, and they can do the same exact thing.
If the person's account got hacked, then they could technically melt all their ships anyway. So
yeah,
I'm not sure that's a valid argument.
I get what you guys are saying though. Again,
So
I'm just thinking of like, I mean, think about right now how many people have bought how many fighters that now that we got inventory are never going to touch those fighters because they're like, fuck, might as well just buy a new one at each place I go to. Like all I'm saying is there's going to be a large selection of ships that don't get touched anymore, and I think it would make sense.
Hey, now why are you touching them?
What?
Never mind.
Well, why? Do you have anything against the ability to melt it on the website instead of doing it in game? How is that any less convenient?
I don't, but I don't think they're gonna go that route because you used to be able to buy, I think it was like 10 and 50 US dollar packs of AU. I keep wanting to say EC.
It is AUEC.
No. You were able to buy the actual
UEC.
What's going to be in-game money, not the test money, but the real in-game money.
UEC.
But then they stopped doing that because they didn't want people to be able to buy their way through the game. So that's why I don't think you'll ever be able to do that. I would be okay with it myself, but it does raise that question. So that's where I think that there needs to be a way for you to somehow get that Aurora off of your account if you're never going to fly that Aurora again. That's all I'm getting at. Because you think about every single person, like the person who still flies their Aurora 5 years into the game is going to be a very unusual person compared to the rest of the masses who are like, oh yeah, no, I flew that Aurora for 2 months and then I upgraded and now I'm in the MSR, for life, kind of a thing. And that's where I'm.
Don't judge my glass coffin.
I think the data storage argument, I don't really think that holds much ground because it's just it's a text entry.
Okay. I mean, with the amount of other databases they're having, the database of X player owns Y ships is going to be the least of their. I mean, remember, they want to make it so that the coffee cup you fucking put down on this one random ass planet when they're going to have
same argument,
dozens and dozens and dozens of planets.
I counter that same exact argument that you're trying to use for that is exactly why they do want to get rid of it, because think of that Aurora that has, you're talking a database entries for every single component and little extra thing and that box of spare armor that was left
so it's
in
one
it.
More.
That's all that much more data per extra ship that's sitting there just taking up space in your database.
I'm not a database expert, but I don't think storing that type of information is that big a problem, considering storing videos like YouTube or having a streaming service like Netflix or Amazon. The amount of data that they have to store for that far outweighs anything that I think Star Citizen will ever have to worry about, because most of their stuff is just going to be pure raw data form.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but that's my argument.
Yeah. I think, to me, I'm looking at it as like, our experience levels, knowledge of database, size equivalents. I think they're dealing with scales that are just, beyond our comprehension. When you start getting into millions of players who've bought packages supposedly. Like, what is it, 300 and something, or 3 million something right now?
A little over, yeah.
And let's just say half of those 3 million. So let's say 1.5 million are actual single ship accounts. Let's, out of that other half that's left over, let's say half of that is multi-ship accounts. And then you start getting into, how many of those are just going to sit and rot and do absolutely nothing. To me, I'm thinking that, like, if I was running the company, I would want to get that stuff off my books.
I mean, but from a company perspective, they have the responsibility to make sure that stuff is there for you. Period.
Right.
I mean, it's like any other company that you make an account with. They're going to store that information forever.
I agree. I'm not saying they should just, like, oh, you haven't played in a year, we get rid of your shit. No, absolutely not. All I'm saying is that if the player is given an option to be able to get rid of those old ships somehow, I, as the company, would want to at least say, hey, the option's there if you want to use it, because it makes my life easier if your account is cleaned up, if that makes sense. How they go about doing it, that's whole nother, that's what I'm arguing. I'm not arguing, like, get rid of people's shit because they're not using it. No, I'm just saying there needs to be
a way. A bunch of stuff that they want to get rid of, then they have an ability to do that.
Exactly.
I think the most reasonable, logical way that they would do that is just give you the ability to melt whatever ship you have for store credit, and whether or not they decide to turn that into UEC or not is whatever. But
doesn't that create that problem?
Well, they probably just say, well, you can buy cosmetics, skins, or another ship with it if you want, or you can just melt it and it can just sit there as value that never gets used.
But I just sold you my 600i that would cost me $500.
Too bad.
I mean, you decided you wanted to buy that. That's that was a purchase decision that you made. So, I mean, it's not like you can buy a TV from a store and watch it for 2 years and say, well, I don't want it anymore. I'm going to take it back and I want full price for it. That doesn't work. It's a little bit different because we're talking about digital goods here, but
yeah, I guess I don't see the problem with being able to sell it in game, as long as you are going through basically the same procedures as you would on the website of saying, yes, clicking the boxes and I understand that I'm getting rid of this ship. I'm trading it in for
I'm against it just because I don't want any real world money, anything being associated in the game itself.
I think it's like there's an ethical argument to it also, because
just think about all the AAA games that come out today that are monetized.
Once the game gets released, there aren't going to be any more account resets where you start out with a certain amount of UEC because that's you pledged for so many ships. Once the game is released, then once you spend that money, then it's gone. You don't get it back. You have to earn it back. So turning real world money into UEC would be the same thing as buying UEC on the website, and they've already said that they don't want to pay to win.
Right, you can already buy UEC on the website though. Just as a note.
Yeah. Sorry, say again, Cam.
You can. I was just noting you can currently buy UEC on the website.
I thought they got rid of it.
That's the AEUEC, the test money, right?
No, real in-game.
Oh,
credits.
That's the actual AUEC.
It is
UEC without the A.
UEC. There you go.
Huh.
Okay. That's not good.
Well, in that case, then I could totally see them saying, yeah, you can melt this for store credit and then turn that store credit into UEC.
Yeah.
That would be the best way for them to go about it if they wanted to do it that way.
Yep. But it opens up the pay to win. So, but I mean,
yes, but at the same time, at least they're not monetizing in the game itself, which is at least silver lining, I suppose. But that's why
this horse is definitely dead. I'm declaring time of death.
But I definitely don't want to see any sort of real money, anything in the game itself, because we see that enough with like EA, every EA game. So
how dare you? First of all, second of all,
I dare to dare.
Yeah, I don't have a proper answer for it, but I think it would make sense just to have something, some way of clearing your books, because I mean
they already do.
Okay, next topic. Let's move on.
We also got the 3.15 hospitals and healing thing from CIG. So they made out an actual, I guess, summarized, how to, or just kind of like a, here's what the medical stuff is. Read it so you know what you're doing. So
okay,
you got,
where's
hospitals.
CIG and what have you done with them?
Behind you.
CIG actually putting out like information on what things do in the game.
Yep.
That's like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
They're becoming user friendly.
User, but I barely know her.
Okay, now I'm getting worried about you, Cam.
Cam, who have you been using?
Yep, we finally reached it. We finally found it. No.
The button? Push the button.
Push.
Wrong button.
Yeah, I've been hearing nothing but positive about the medical gameplay. Like, they seem to be really on it, as far as, fixing the problems and trying to make it more user friendly. And I'm also hearing the same thing about inventory. Like, it's getting better and better.
Inventory is definitely improving a lot. It's way better than the Wave 1 patch. Way better.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not even getting into what they're actually doing, but just their response time. Like, from what I'm hearing, we're getting responses of what in the past would have taken 6 to 9 months to get implemented is now showing up, within a week.
Yeah.
Like, people say, hey, this is wrong. And, 2 days later, okay, we fixed that problem. What else you got?
Because they're spending more time in the PTU, which is a good thing, I think.
Yeah. Basically, I'm hearing nothing but positives about this patch.
Anybody that has the PTU, we should.
Yeah, that's something we forgot to mention.
To
the PTU is currently open to all backers, so anyone with the game has access to the PTU right now.
And it's supposed to go live any moment now for
right now.
Regular PU. 1 second ago, Cam, you're late.
3 seconds ago now, you're late.
But yeah, it's I'm curious what's going to happen, because the longer it's taking, that's that much faster the next PTU cycle has to happen.
True, but I mean, there are still some pretty nasty bugs that need to get ironed out, because death, it feels pretty punishing. So
Yeah.
dying to random things like walking out of your ship or tripping on the stairs, that it feels real bad. And
yeah,
they talked about why that happens. It's a physics bug, and it's not the wind killing you. It's your body falling over and then impacting the ground like multiple times because of a bug in the game. So you don't go into a down state when that happens. You just insta die generally.
Yeah, I think I heard that, and the analogy they used was back in the day, when you're dying in turrets, it wasn't because of your body, but because of the grenades on your body were impacting the turret.
Yeah.
I was like, that's really interesting.
Yeah, they were talking about people's ships blowing up for no reason. That's because the pilot would have a pistol or something on him, and that item would just constantly be hitting the ship, causing like 1 point of damage over and over and over and over until the point where the ship just ran out of HP and would blow up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Interesting perspective. They kind of, oh wow, like I never thought of the game behaving that way, but yeah, you're right. Like, that makes sense.
I mean, honestly, that's probably the majority of the bugs. It's just weird random interactions that nobody really
Uh,
thinks about. Yeah.
so collision
Yeah.
issues and objects collision issues.
Yeah.
I I'm guessing that the collision problems they're having right now is just probably low server tick rate because they're overloaded and the desync issues.
One other question I got for those of you who have been active. My understanding is that basically every time you wake up in the hospital, you're butt ass naked. Do
You
you
have it
think
down.
that you
Yeah.
should automatically get at least your basic clothing
Noob suit.
back?
So you are supposed to get a flight suit and a helmet.
Okay.
I believe I read that in the release notes or something like that. So
So you're
if
Yeah.
you
supposed to
die,
get a noob suit and helmet.
you're supposed to get a flight suit and a helmet. That way, you're still able to go outside in space if you need to, in case you don't have any money. That's what I understand. I'm not sure that it was working because I've got a lot of subscriber gear kind of clogging up my inventory. So I never really paid enough attention to see whether I'm getting a new undersuit and helmet if I died. But I believe that's what's supposed to happen.
Okay, because what I've actually seen um, through some of the streams is people are waking up with nothing and having to go buy a new suit and helmet. So that's why I was asking that question.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
they've been complaining about it. So that's why I was asking what your guys' take on it was.
yeah, they need to add something where you get it because if you have no money and you die, then what are you supposed to do? You can't do missions, you
Yeah.
can't get up the station, you're stuck. So
Okay.
something that yeah, they need to give you at least a flight suit and a helmet.
I agree.
This is a very in-depth list, by the way. These tutorials.
I don't know because you're not showing it on the screen.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
what
I'm
the
not.
fuck?
Look at that.
You need a producer to talk in your ear and tell you what to do.
That's what you're for.
Whisper sweet
No.
nothings.
No, I'm the one who gives you the wet willies.
Oh. What are
And
you
that's
doing,
why
step
I
Mando?
don't do it to Cam because he likes them.
Stop. Don't touch me there.
No, don't. Stop.
Harder.
I can't tell. Was that no, don't stop or no, don't stop?
Yeah. Well,
At least he's not saying harder. Yeah, they have a whole, they got images, screenshots here on what to expect with the multi-tool and the cure, the med gun, the real how it works. They even go into all the drugs.
All the drugs?
Drugs.
My God.
I'm impressed with the visuals, like the amount of visuals they included in it. Because usually when they do this kind of stuff, it's usually just like a text blurb.
Yeah, it's just a giant text wall, whereas here it's organized.
Yeah, and actually like followable.
Yeah, and I like how the drugs are color coded, so you know which one's which.
Unless you're colorblind.
Well, at least the colors will be different still. So. And they show off like, okay, when you're treating someone, they go into the tiers, which is nice. Hospitals. Clinics. Of course, they're showing Grimhacks. Here's a normal clinic. Clinics are tier 2, and then tier 3 is the cutlass red.
So, is there a mechanic to do anything with a body when it's in a down state? As in, can you move the body and then put them in a seat?
So I don't know about down state, but if you have a tractor beam, you can move dead bodies around. I imagine it would work on downstate people too. You cannot place them on anything. You can drag them into a cargo hold and transport them, I guess. But other than that, in order for them to get any seed or whatever, you'd have to bring them back.
Like you can't even put them in a stretcher or on a bed.
No, I don't believe.
Yet.
I don't think that they really want that type of gameplay anyway. It's if you find somebody down, then you revive them, and then they can limp back to a med bed or whatever, and get healed that way. I imagine that's the gameplay they're going for. Might be different for NPCs down the line, but I don't really expect them to change it much for a player because, I mean, what's the player experience of being completely incapacitated and being dragged around? That's not going to be
Getting
very
dragged
much
around,
fun
of
for them.
course.
Yeah, that's true. It does open up some
Like
some
a
bad
dirty
gameplay.
little penguin.
Even if they're being rescued, it's not much fun for you if you're just in a down state and you're getting dragged around while someone takes you to a med bed. It's way more uh, interactive if they just pick you up and then you have to struggle to get where you're going. You're playing the game instead of just watching the game.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
I was just thinking of the scenario like somebody goes down and you don't have, one of these guns, but you've got like, or all you have is just the basic, don't die right now. You jab them, throw them in a fireman's carry, take them into the back of the Cutlass, throw them in a jump seat, and then fly to the hospital. But
I mean, you could totally drag them into your Cutlass and fly them if they wanted to wait. I mean, you could do that.
right. Yeah, no, I wasn't thinking about the gameplay of, the down person's perspective of what they're going through. So, but you raise a good point. Like that's not.
I'm not a fan
enjoyable
of
for them.
this. Hold M to activate a rescue beacon and offer a reward of $15,000 credits.
I'm not sure that 15 comes from you. I think it's just
that's coming from the insurance company. I thought.
Yeah.
No, it comes from you. At least when they initially put it in, I have not heard them state that it's changed, and I assume that would be a pretty big change. But I know when it was still 10,000 AUEC, it was coming out of your out of your personal wallet.
So what happens if you don't have the money?
I have no idea. It might not even let you put a beacon up.
I think that may have changed now because the missions don't show up as beacons anymore. They show up in the regular mission list.
That might be. That
I hope they changed it because that's gonna suck for someone who doesn't have the credits.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Because you have no choice.
That's why I'm like, it could be insurance that pays that out, not you out of your personal inventory.
That was the latest that I was hearing. Up to a couple days ago was that it was coming out of insurance, but I don't know firsthand, so that's why I'm not arguing.
Definitely mean they changed it. So I hope they have.
I mean, I think they're smart enough to know that that's going to cause a problem for people who can't pay.
Yeah, and I could totally see it being like that bounty for that mission is basically the insurance just to get you to the hospital and probably get you like basic care. But it might not get you 100%, but it'll get you stabilized.
Yeah. Anyway, my experience with medical gameplay so far in the PU, I haven't done it in this patch, but I tried to rescue a couple people last patch. And, for them, a lot of times they're waiting 20, 30 minutes because it takes you that long to get there. And sometimes their body would be glitched, so they're invisible for you and you can't res them. So, they've laid there on the ground for 30 minutes for you to get there. And then
I'm right in front of you, dude. Just jab me with it.
Literally, that happened. And as soon as he died, his body popped in.
I heard of one case where you had some players, this guy goes down in a city, and they're like, oh, let me get you over to the actual hospital here. And they literally could not drag him over like the lip of the building.
Yeah,
like where it
probably...
was, and it's because they were just stuck.
Yeah, they're like maybe they were walking through a physics grid or a loading zone, something like that. He kept bouncing like Amanda's body did when I was trying to drag him up the ramp that one time.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, I was literally in purgatory for most of it, but yeah.
His game glitched out, so he got stuck in a infinite loading screen
Oh, it's just staring at like a black screen. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, his body persisted on the ground because it doesn't disappear until you respawn. So I was trying to drag him up into the cutlass, but transitioning from the ground onto the ramp wasn't working. So it was like contorting his body in horrible, horrible ways.
Nice.
Yeah, we have footage of
Spaghetti
it.
Man.
Yeah, it's part of a 11-hour live stream we did. So
Nice. But yeah, so I also heard that they changed up the medical missions. So now that if you're, I guess if you have like a wanted level, it won't show up for you.
Yeah, they had the problem with people in prison were accepting the medical missions just to troll other people.
Well, one issue too, and someone pointed this out, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Is that, let's say, for example, that is especially if I'm a new player, but it also counts if you're not necessarily a new player, but the pop-ups, the dialogue boxes that pop up for the medical missions are at the top of the screen. And, just like all of the usual bullshit that you see there. And so because of that, you can have people who could easily go and press, one way or the other on it without intending to accept the mission, for example. And, well, hey, oops. And you don't even know you've accepted a mission. The guy's like, okay, I'm waiting. Any day now.
Yeah.
And you're never coming.
Honestly, I think they should make those missions be acceptable by anyone, and them always
and by
be
multiple
up till the
people.
person gets rezzed. That way, if someone grabs it, then they have an incentive to get over there and res the guy if they want to. And people who would get it by accident, that it doesn't do anything for them.
Yeah, they should make the missions always open until
always available until he's rescued.
Yeah, because competitive, that'll, if the first guy doesn't make it, then maybe the second guy will.
It also allows multiple people to track it at once.
So I get it.
Yeah, right now, I'm pretty sure that if you put out the mission, then that's it. You can't put it out again. So if somebody accepts it and then just can't complete it or decides they don't want to, then you're done. Nobody's going to come rescue you because they don't have a marker for you.
You got to admit, if you could continuously post it, some 12-year-old is going to do that.
Yeah.
Spam the chat kind of thing.
Yeah. That's why I think just having it permanently available until the guy is rescued or dies was the best option.
Makes sense.
Didn't they used to have missions like that where you're competing with other people?
Yeah, that's how the missions initially
started
out.
How
hey, it's open for
all of the investigation missions were pretty much like that. Like anyone can accept them, and multiple people can accept them. And this way, when you go to a wreck to look for the dead bodies, sometimes you would encounter other players there that are also looking for them. I've had it where once I was looking for for the dead bodies, and another player showed up. And we're just like, we're cool, we put our weapons away and we're just looking for bodies. Then a third party shows up and they just start guns blazing, so we find cover and try to just, on the fly team up to take this guy down. It was really fun. Stuff like that can happen.
I believe the PI mission is still that way. Because I tried it, I want to say 4 or 5 months ago. When I got back in just to see that mission, I just always kind of check on it just to see what's going on with it.
It's got so much potential, that mission.
Yeah. But I don't know about the rec missions anymore.
I haven't done a rec mission in a while, but and the story I just referenced was from back in 3.2. So
yeah,
that's what, 2018.
I'll tell you what I do want them to bring back. The random Radagast bottles floating around that were worth 5,000
Yes,
AU.
except this time I want to be able to drink them.
Yes.
Because we have that now. We can actually drink.
That's
they have
great gameplay because it's worth 5,000 credits. Or do you want to drink it?
Right.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Hey, call sign. We're flying around. Like, hey, what are we doing today? Oh, we're just gonna go exploring. Find a whole rack of of Martian whiskey. It's like,
So
no, I used to go clean house on KSP because there was
great.
random 5-bottle locations inside
They were not random.
Well, not random, but the when they would spawn was a random thing. So sometimes there'd be 3 of them, sometimes there'd be 5 of them, sometimes there's only 1, and then you also have the fact that other people are going in there and they might grab 1 or 2, or they didn't grab any. So like you just never knew, but you're guaranteed that you're going to get something out of there, and that's what made it so awesome. Is like, I'm just going to go to KSP and make some money.
Yeah, because they were 5,000 a pop, and there was 5 of them.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. It was
money. Easy money.
Loot boxes kind of have that same feel now, and I believe there's a chance for loot boxes to spawn at any outpost. It's not just the bunker missions.
We should probably call them loot crates, just so that viewers don't get confused.
Yeah, true. Equipment boxes, we'll call it that.
Prize boxes.
Surprise
boxes where you can get things out of in game.
Surprise crates.
Anyway,
it
is pretty fun for me anyway. Going into an area and just looking for things and getting equipment.
Yeah, no, I like that. Like I've been waiting for that because that's something that's always been missing. Is there's no reason to go anywhere unless it was a moneymaker, and because they weren't spawning anything other than the missions, nobody went adventuring. But now, like you said, there's a reason to go. I'm gonna go see what's off in this direction because maybe I'll find a loot box sitting on the
that brings up another thing. Is if you're on the surface of, say, Microtech or something, some of the imagine if they have stuff like fruits and whatever growing from the various plants there. That'd be another reason to just go randomly exploring on your own. Just like, okay, we're just gonna collect some of these, fill up our cargo hold, and make 1 million credits or whatever.
Yep.
100,000.
Like, what am I gonna do today? I got nothing planned. Well, I'm gonna go take a cutlass and I'm gonna fly in a general direction away from Hurston, and I'm just gonna collect everything I find on the way. Like that's a good gameplay session if that's your thing.
Essentially, you want to reward exploration.
Yeah.
In the PTU, I like to personally challenge myself by doing bunker missions, but only starting out with a pistol. So you go in, and the only way that you survive is by taking things that you loot, like weapons and ammo and stuff like that. It's fun.
I call it RPG style.
But
I've heard it's popular. That's because people don't want to lose their stuff. So they're like, I'm just going into this bunker mission with a pistol.
Yep.
I've done it once when I only had a knife. So.
Yeah, good luck with that. I mean, when the NPCs are functioning properly, you get shredded.
No, it's very difficult, and you very much need to make use of cover and med pens if you have them. Obviously, that tactic ain't gonna work anymore because of the medical gameplay. But
anyway, you actually start having to think about what's going to happen if you get shot, and I don't know. It's to me, it's entertaining because it's like an oh shit, what's going to happen? Because the AI doesn't always spawn in front of you. They've got spawn clots, so sometimes they'll spawn in the upper levels, and you go clearing that, and then while you're clearing those out, they spawn at lower levels, so you never know where they're going to be exactly.
Good, because I hated how predictable their locations were.
Yeah, they're not predictable anymore, and the server performance problems make it even worse because sometimes they'll just be standing there like they don't know where you're at, and then you think, okay, he didn't see me. You go to do something, and then he runs up right behind you and blasts you. So
nice.
It's definitely an experience. It's not just walk in and shoot them because they don't know what's going on anymore. It's way more risky.
It sounds like a glitch that is making it much more realistic.
Yeah, in some ways, yeah.
I
say they keep it for a few locations. Why not?
Yeah, I've been hearing that one of the big problems is that people seem to think that they should have a different coloring scheme to be able to identify friend and foe.
So Cam can talk about his experience on Microtech. I did all of my bunker missions on Hurston, and the bad guys and good guys are pretty easily distinguished because Hurston has like yellow and gray, and the
Right.
bad guys are wearing purple or bluish and a red. So
That's
in a
right.
dark
We talked about that. I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in a dark corridor, you still need to shine your light on them because it's
Yeah.
hard to tell. But I mean,
No. So I started off really doing bunker missions in Area 18, and the problem is that the guards would be wearing red armor with like a silver undersuit or something like that. But by and large, they look red, and the hostiles were wearing teal armor, light blue with red undersuit.
Red undersuit, yeah.
So it was very hard to.
Go ahead and
tell
finish
them
it,
apart
Cam.
there.
You have to be careful.
Sorry, I'm in the middle
what
of
you're
a fight.
shooting at.
Yeah. Huh.
I think that it.
That's it. That's all I got.
That's all I got.
I think we got all the.
I will say this. One last thing.
Oh god. Oh no.
Go.
If you decide to do a bunker mission, and it's one where you're clearing just bad guys out, the turrets will fire on you.
Yep.
There's a bug right now where if you fly too far away from the station or the bunker, the turrets will disappear. So I thought, oh, well, that's a bug. They just disappeared. So I landed, I got out of my ship, and then they respawned and blew me up. So watch out.
They used to do that when they were first implemented.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So I've always been in the mindset, just every single time you see a turret, make sure it's dead.
Yeah. There's also a problem that I found where you don't have a target reticle for the turret. So you have no idea where your shots are going, and the UI icon for the turret covers up the turret. So you can't see where your shots are landing, just trying to fire blind. So that was frustrating.
Nice.
Not frustrating, it's just more challenging.
Sure, yeah. In that case, it would have been better for me just to land and walk in, but
yeah, right. I always just try to hide my ship behind like some several dozen large rocks and then walk.
Yeah.
So. Stretch the old legs.
Aren't we supposed to be getting some kind of major what is it? Sensors upgrade?
Yes. Are you talking about the FPS sensors
that were scanning?
Okay, scanning. Yeah.
Well, you're talking about FPS scanning or the deep space scanning?
The space scanning.
Okay, yeah. So they talked about it. I don't know when it's coming out, but the idea there is that there's probes that you can send out that will passively scan space, and you'll be able to find things out there. You won't know what they are, but you'll get a signal, and then
right. I remember that part there. Because they're talking about you'd be able to actually set beacons and then travel to those beacons, which basically now lets you go where you want to go instead of only plotted courses. But I thought we were supposed to be getting some kind of like scan mechanic upgrade here shortly, and by shortly I mean like within the next couple months.
They have talked about the FPS scanners. They've been talking about for a while, so I imagine that'll be coming out fairly soon. But I don't.
Okay.
I haven't looked at the progress tracker.
3.17.
Yeah.
What's that supposed to do?
It's going to function pretty much like your ship scanner does. When you can send out a scan and it'll return and let you know if there's people in a specific area. But when you do that, those people are going to know that you just scanned and they're going to have your location as well.
Got it. Is that going to be like part of your armor set, or is that going to be tool based?
I'm imagining.
Oh, no.
I imagine it's going to be part of your armor starting out with. Just going to be part of your kit. I don't know if they'll separate it later on.
Okay. Like, so in other words, it won't be like a tool that your little handheld gun that you aim in direction and then it shows you like a screen of what you view
They
through
haven't
that.
really given specifics, but I don't think so. I think it'll probably just be
Okay,
part of your helmet interface where you push
got
a
it.
button and it sends out a ping, and then you get a return. I
Yep.
don't know if they're going to have like a 3D radar or if it'll just show you on your HUD where somebody is or whatever. But I think that they also said that I don't know if this will be tier 0 or tier 1 or whatever they're calling it now, but it should be sound sensitive. So if there's somebody running or making a lot of noise, then your suit should be able to pick that up and tell you what direction that's coming from, that kind of thing.
I remember that from back when Theaters of War was brand new. They were really big on like being able to pick up the audio.
And they further emphasized on it. They further emphasized on it with the when they were talking about the crossbow a few months back. How like the crossbow would be like the ultimate silent, stealth weapon because it doesn't have any EM and IR signatures that your suit would be able to pick up, and minimal audio compared to the discharge of a weapon, the gun, or both energy or ballistic guns.
Yeah, but it's a crossbow. I mean, it's still going to make a twang.
Yes, I'm saying it's definitely it's a minimal noise compared to.
But a laser's supposed to be silent.
Yeah, but come on, this is
it's a laser that goes pew, for fuck's sake.
If it didn't make noise and have a kick, it wouldn't be a real gun.
So the silent weapon has noises, and the non-silent weapon is now silenced.
Yes,
that's the game we have. Okay, just checking.
It's a space crossbow, though.
If it was a bow, it'd be silent. But
would it?
What they
still makes it similar noise,
weapon, right? Did they say it was going to be a crossbow?
It's a crossbow.
Yeah, it's a crossbow.
It's actually 4-way crossbow.
Yeah, it's got 4.
It is a cross bow.
Yeah, actually,
what you did there.
It is an actual crossbow.
I wonder what the arrows are going to look like when you store them. Are you going to wear a quiver, or are they going to be like little things on your belt that just kind of extend? I
was thinking the extending thing, yeah.
An Iron Man tech thing.
Or maybe like around your upper forearm, you just have like a brace of them.
Oh yeah, like small little arrows that are like the size of your forearm. No, maybe. Or maybe you just have a giant quiver. I don't know.
Yeah.
Look at me.
And then there's
I'm
Cam,
Green Arrow.
who has a big giant grappling hook strapped to his forearm.
Oh fuck! Watch your face. Cryptic, or in our org, Cryptic is gonna be fucking Green Arrow now. He's gonna be in all green armor, and he's gonna have a freaking quiver with a crossbow.
Quiver? I barely know her.
What kind of flare are we supposed to be getting from the IAE?
What?
From the show?
I don't know.
What do you mean from the the Best in Show?
Okay, English words. What kind of flare are we getting from the show?
Sorry, no, you actually were cut off. You cut out for me, so I didn't hear what you said. I just heard what, and then for the show. So I didn't hear the words flare.
I imagine they'll have all the purchasable shirts and T-shirts, caps, and that.
Yeah, the usual.
You don't think they'll give us something for just being backers?
I mean, they did last year.
Unquote. Well, I mean, it's got a new name, but essentially, this is the annual, ship show.
No, this is
every year.
It's the anniversary.
They gave us like little trinkets to put, flare items to put in our hangars in the past.
Things we can put in our ship that will get instantly lost as soon as it gets destroyed.
Yep.
I would say. Well, we know we're getting the Best in Show skins for the Argo and the other 3 ships that won.
Right. Well, wasn't just the didn't SitCon everyone got, what was it, like the
little goodies pack, the new armor,
pack,
a
knife, and a backpack. What
was it?
No, it was a trophy.
Or was it the armor?
No, there was the armor, there was a knife, and then there was a third item. I just don't remember what it was.
Oh, it's the plaque thing.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Hanger flare.
Yeah, something you can throw at somebody.
Right.
It's the way I think of it.
AIE's right around the corner, so I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's literally in a few weeks. So.
I don't know. Oh, so the English words. Let me try and use them. Nope. The subscriber armor that you guys have had for like, I want to say like 6 months, that the leather set.
Yeah.
Have those become available to anyone outside of subscriber yet?
Oh, you mean like being able to buy in game?
Or loot them.
I haven't seen anybody that wears them. I mean, if you kill a subscriber and he's wearing it, you could take it.
Okay.
I haven't seen any NPCs wearing it, and I haven't done enough shopping in the PTU to really know. Mostly, I would just go in and find a generic flight suit
First
and
one
helmet.
On the rack and buy it.
Yeah, like buy 10 of each, so I didn't have to do it again when I died because you do die a lot, and go do bunker.
That's what I'm doing too, is just buying in bulk.
Yep.
I mean,
I imagine most people are going to do that starting out because
we're
you
creating Costco shoppers.
You definitely need to plan on dying because
you say that like it's a bad thing, Callsign.
Sorry?
I said you say that like it's a bad thing.
Up in my neck of the woods, it is. Because we got the Canadians who come across the border just to shop at those places. And it's frustrating because if that business is anywhere, near something you're trying to get to, then you got to deal with all the traffic, and it sucks.
Where's Coolios when we need them?
Yeah, exactly. No, up here, they got a Costco and they got a Walmart that are basically completely going 24/7. Well, until COVID shut the border down.
Yeah.
But they're going to open it back up. But before that, I mean, literally 24/7, lights on, vehicle traffic nonstop, constant, and it's just like, fuck, I don't even want to go to that side of town because of the headache of dealing with just sitting in the traffic for
Sounds like
it
Manhattan.
takes 5 minutes to go a block because it's literally bumper to bumper Canadian traffic. Anyways, I'm off my Canadian rant.
Yep. And Coolio's not here to defend himself.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get him next time.
He's also from the from what I understand, he's up above the lake, so he's from the good part of Canada, where like they're more normal. BC Canadians are a different breed. Anyways.
Well, so at the end, message of the day: blame Canada.
Blame Canada. Yeah, there you go. And make sure you shop in bulk in the verse.
Right. Get all the armors and helmets and undersuits in like packs of 20 or 200.
They said they wanted to know what people are spending their money on, and I think that this is definitely going to give them that data. Though I think it's going to be inflated a little bit because of how often people are going to die to bugs and other issues like that.
That's been my only major concern with them bringing the health mechanics in was the number of bugs that the game has and whether or not that was going to allow people to get it. That was going to allow CIG to get proper numbers for data crunching versus the number of people who are just going to get frustrated with the health system and quit because it's so buggy and penalizing them with death.
Yeah, I mean, you are going to die, and a lot of the times that is going to be from bugs. So if you play 315, just, buckle up because it's going to happen.
Check. Yeah, I need to load up because as scared as I am for my computer, for my laptop, my ancient laptop to not melt down, I need to get in there and get some experience with it.
Yeah, I will say, I don't know if this is going to affect everybody with older systems, but performance for a lot of people was better in a lot of the higher traffic areas. I don't know. I think it's because they're starting to bring in some of the Gen 12 render tech piece by piece.
Okay.
So
that's good.
It is good, but for people who don't have many cores to begin with, I'm not sure they're going to see as much performance uplift. But generally speaking, performance is better in 315 than it is in 314.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, to me, I mean, I see on the videos, I'm seeing nothing but smooth play, but I constantly equate that to like, you know, these are streamers
Guys with little
supercomputers.
separate computers for streaming. Oh. So usually they'll have a computer for streaming and a computer for the game.
Well, it's not even that. It's just, you know, because they're streaming, they've built their computers to be, you know, extra capable.
No, but that's the thing is usually a lot of the streamers have a separate computer just for streaming.
Right.
Like, so they'll have their main computer and both of them are high end and they're exactly.
No, I'm well aware of how they normally set up, but
even if you don't,
just,
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you have a 5950 and a 3090 and 64 gigabytes of RAM, I don't think you have any problem streaming this game and playing it on the same PC at the same time.
So let's cut all those numbers by like 2/3.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I wanted to get 32 back when I could, and I didn't, and I'm frustrated at myself for not doing it.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've only got 24 for memory.
DDR3, right?
The good news is processor prices are starting to come down. GPUs not so much.
Yay! Yeah, I definitely want to build a real computer here shortly, as soon as I can.
I need to build a new one too.
Some of AMD's CPUs are becoming what people would consider affordable now. I'm looking at them myself.
Yeah, but graphics cards are still
I'd be interested if somebody who's knowledgeable wanted to put together a generic build list. I would definitely be interested in looking at it just to get an idea of what's out there and what seems to be working.
I put one together a few months ago in our Discord server when I was helping someone else get a gaming. Oh.
Yeah, might be something to just create a posting where people can come in and check it out. Like hey, if you're interested in Star Citizen and you want to build a computer, here's what other people have done or what other people have recommended.
Though I will caveat that with saying that you should not build a computer specifically for Star Citizen because it's an alpha state and performance is going to continually get, or what am I trying to say here? The minimum requirements are going to continue to go up as they push what they can do with the engine and the technology. So
it's evolving.
Right, like what was my computer, 5 years ago was top of the line, able to run everything. Now, like
that's why
I need to upgrade.
I was thinking like you put it down as like, hey, this is what other people have done. So it's like it's a recommendation, but you can put that note there where it's like, hey, this look at the dates. So that
essentially what you want to do is just you want to make a super gaming computer because just a regular gaming computer really ain't gonna cut. Like you need to make a super gaming computer and then have that little caveat, that little disclaimer, like this can run Star Citizen extremely well, but Star Citizen is ever evolving, so keep that in mind.
Now,
it runs Star Citizen extremely well for 2021. It may not run in 2023.
Yeah, I would say don't break the budget trying to build a massive game rig to play Star Citizen. Build a computer that fits in your budget for the things that you need it to do, and it will run Star Citizen better than what you have right now, and then you can upgrade later when it gets more finalized and you know what the base requirements are going to be.
It's essentially just be realistic about it. Like, are you really building a computer just to play one game? Or are you building a computer that can run other games as well as Star Citizen, but you want it to run all of them at peak performance, or at best as you could on your budget?
If you're fortunate enough to have the expendable income, then it's a moot point. You can do what you want, but for the rest of us,
for the rest of us,
I started out with my original, the laptop that I'm playing with now. Originally started out with I needed a travel computer, but I also wanted to be able to play Arma. So when I originally went and spec'd it out, it was buffed up to be able to handle whatever arm we would throw at it, and it just so happened that at the time when Star Citizen really started coming out in 2.5, my laptop could handle it no problem, but it's slowly deteriorated over the years to I'm worried it won't even start up now. So we shall see.
Yeah, CPU is better than GPU as far as Star
Oh my god! So Star Citizen, just here's the thing for anyone that wants to build their computer to run Star Citizen: CPU and RAM are more important than your GPU.
Yep.
And video RAM is more important than the type of GPU you have. So you can have a GTX 970 with say 4 to 6 gigs of video RAM over say a 1070 that has 2 gigs of video RAM. Like that's gonna be better than the 1070 with the 2 gigs. Because
FYI, do not buy any graphics card that has less than 6 gigabytes of RAM.
Yes.
These days, you want like 10 to 12 ideally.
Yeah, that's true. I was just throwing random numbers, but yeah.
12, 47, 900,
42.
I mean, the higher the better. But you know,
yeah,
the higher it goes, the more expensive.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah. Star Citizen is a very RAM and CPU intensive game. That's the stuff that's going to be mattering more. Like if you can, I'd recommend maxing out your RAM just because it's better. But if obviously you're on a budget, at least 32 gigs, I would say.
Yeah, 32 is the sweet spot for Star Citizen right now.
Obviously, if you have a motherboard that can support more, go for it. Just because you can't have enough RAM.
I remember way back in the day when it was only 8 megabytes RAM.
I know, really. I remember. That's crazy.
An insane world.
I fully envision within a couple years we'll be up to like 64 RAM.
64 will probably up to terabytes.
DDR5 RAM sticks can come one stick with 64 gigabytes. Just saying.
Wow.
Yeah, we already have like 120 something maximum motherboards with 120 something RAM maximums.
Well, I guess let me rephrase that. I can see CIG suggesting optimal performance being at 64 megabytes of RAM. So,
probably.
Gig. Yeah. I mean, just based off of remembering the 8 gigabyte days.
Yeah.
We'll probably end up at 64.
I had a computer that ran on that. Get rid of this. Yeah, I had a computer that had 8 megabyte, and I remember taking it apart to upgrade it.
Yeah. Well, that's where I'm kicking myself because I jumped from the 8 up to the 26, and I should have gone to the 32.
I used to do that with all the Macs that I got years ago. This Mac came with like maybe 8, right? Like gigs or whatever RAM. Just unscrew it, take it apart, and just stick in so I get 32 eventually, or 16 at the time. But then later models 32, and now I don't even use it. So.
Yep, I used to do all my own computer stuff too, but now I just find that I'm just too far out of the loop, I guess. But anyways, good show. I need to be heading out.
All right. We have a comment. Someone in the chat. George Lucas is in the chat. Wow.
All right.
Saying, "Let's go, Brandon."
Yep.
Same as last night. Last night he came into our chat saying the same thing.
Have we figured out who Brandon is?
So, Data, would you like to explain again? For anyone who doesn't know while they're watching, and for call sign.
There was a NASCAR race in Alabama.
Oh.
The driver who won it was named Brandon something. And while he was being interviewed by a sports reporter, the crowd started chanting F Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And the reporter tried to cover it and say, "Oh, wow, they're chanting your name. Let's go, Brandon." Yeah.
Yep.
So it's a meme now.
I got that. Like, I just didn't have the context. I just read something about that in the news. Yeah, so, okay, got it.
See, you're more informed than Cam and I were.
1 to 2. No, it was just in the news, because I guess it was getting, God, who was that? Anyways, it was in mainstream news.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. Let's go, Brandon. If that's what that means.
I won't say that, but let's go, Brandon. Politics in general. How's that?
Agreed.
But anywho, yeah, good show, and I will see you guys next week.
All
right. We'll catch you later.
Yeah.
See ya.
All right. Before I end this show, I do want to say we do have one more topic that I do want to cover. It is not necessarily a pleasant one, but it's not super bad. Pretty much, you guys remember how last year Ubisoft was doing all sorts of sexual harassment? That's pretty much the same things that Activision Blizzard is being called out for now. They were called out for last year.
Vaguely.
Well, now they So it's been a year since all the sexual harassment scandals and just the news of it circulated from Ubisoft, and now you've got updates on it. Not good. Pretty much, people that reported cases of it, nothing's happening. Surprise, surprise.
Of course.
Yeah. And apparently, this is all being done, all the reports are being done by a external firm Ubisoft themselves hired to review employee complaints to get an answer, only to be told the weeks later that they would not investigate the case with no reason given. So, yeah.
Well, again, not surprised.
And you have a report here saying, their case was, they reported their case multiple times through multiple avenues, only to be repeatedly told it would be investigated and pushed up the chain of command, but they never received actual updates about how their case was resolved. You got a quote here, I don't know who from, but a quote here saying, "I suddenly began to understand the response some veteran Ubisoft devs gave me when I tried to recruit them to come forward about similar issues. They said it was always some variation of, same thing happens every few years. I've reported X number of things with witnesses and proof, and either nothing was done or person X was promoted or moved. It's sad, and it's an intentional way of burying this stuff. It's working." Regardless of the employees' dissatisfaction with the reporting system Ubisoft has set up, the publisher has told some of them it will not tolerate them going public with problems. Kotaku exactly. Kotaku report quotes an email sent to staff by Ubisoft Montreal director Christophe Derens? I don't know. The director of the Montreal office in Ubisoft, who stepped into that role after its previous holder, Ubisoft Canada CEO Yannis Mallat, left the company in the wake of last year's scandals, and all this stuff first broke. Let's see. And the email read, "As you know, your experience and the information you have access to while working in Ubisoft in the studio are privileged and cannot be shared outside the studio. Obviously, this does not prevent journalists from trying to contact you. If that happens, we ask that you forward the request to our media relations officer. It's the right thing to do, but it's also a commitment you made under the Code of Conduct, the anti-leak policy, and your employment contract." Essentially, yes, they are under a contract, but at the same time, they're trying to bring illegal activities to light. And they're like, no, because of this contract, you cannot. And that's just not okay. I know, again, if there's a legal thing for it, like a legal clause through an employee contract saying they can't, just because it is doesn't mean it should be.
Also, too, if a company contract is saying, oh, hey, if you see this illegal action, you can't talk about it. Sorry, your contract, or at least that section of it, is null and void. Because you can't say, well, I'm such and such company, and because we made employees sign this big piece of paper and it said they can not talk about these certain illegal activities, that means it's okay that they are that illegal things happened, and that B, they can't talk about those illegal things that happened to them or that they had information on or anything like that. That's not how that works.
Yeah, it's very scummy. It's very, a dirtbag move. Unfortunately, again, we're not surprised. We're seeing it everywhere. Activision, Blizzard, Ubisoft, Riot Games. I'm sure EA and ZeniMax, Bethesda also do it. Like, I'd be surprised if if other companies didn't harass their employees in such matters of sexism and racism. But unfortunately, it's become normalized, and you see it everywhere, and they're powerful enough to literally bury it as they are. Yeah, report this thing here, because the whole point is they're supposed to be reporting it, right? Because Ubisoft is, trying to assure people after last year that they changed and they made changes and they have this reporting thing to prevent stuff from happening, despite all the sexual misconduct that occurred over the years. And it's just a bunch of essentially a bunch of hot air bullshit. None of it's yeah, we made a bunch of changes for we have a reporting system now that essentially is just an empty void that people are reporting into, where they can bury all the stories but say that they changed. It seems they still mishandle employee complaints and conduct. Again, it just sucks. Really, I don't know what else to say. I guess it's evil, nefarious. Yep, that's Ubisoft still. Well, it's been a year and they're still not being held accountable. At least Activision Blizzard is being held accountable to an extent. They're trying to weasel their way out, but at least they have the Department of Fair Employment and Housing after them. I don't think I can say the same for Ubisoft, fortunately. But yeah, I think that wraps it up for now.
Well, if they are legit complaints and it can be proven that Ubisoft is not taking them seriously and it's sexual harassment, then that should be a pretty easy lawsuit.
Yeah, but you're assuming that they can afford the legal power to. It's not super easy to get the legal power and to sue a major company like. Because they're gonna stretch it on forever because they have the money. And you're not gonna be able to hold out for that long because you have to pay the lawyer. So.
Well, a lot of lawyers or firms will take a case if they think they're going to win, and if it's monetary value, then you don't pay them anything up front. They just take a percentage of whatever you win from the case. But
well, hopefully these employees do that then, because that
it requires an employee to I guess step up to the plate and
which as we've seen is difficult.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's easy, but
no, we're just you're offering kind of roads of how to get this solved, which is what we need actually. So solutions to a problem are always a good thing. Obviously, one of them is sue their assets. But yeah, they do again. You can sue them, but the thing is, they have the power, the money and power and legal team to fight it off. Probably. Hopefully, they would lose, but honestly, we don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that Activision Blizzard one is stretched out for so long already is kind of. They've been. Whatever, we'll get into that in another video, but that's. They've been going into. They've been doing union busting and stuff like that. Shredding documents to hide evidence.
All the good stuff, you mean?
Yeah, pretty much. I swear, we live in a fucking comic book world right now.
Yeah, we kind of do.
Welcome to the dark future. Well, that's about it, unless we got anything else.
No, I think I'm talked out for tonight.
Yeah. Alright, well, that's going to be it for all. I hope you guys enjoyed, found this informative, not at least entertaining. Tell us what, if you guys are watching live or you're watching this on the rerun later, let us know what you guys thought of all the Star Citizen news. Are you guys excited for the IAE? What do you think the new Argo ship is? Like, what do you think it'll be and all that? Based on leaks or just from your own imagination? What do you think of the Ubisoft misconduct reports? Let us know in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, obviously give it a thumbs up and share it around. Didn't enjoy it, give us a thumbs down and tell us why in the comment section, because feedback is pretty much the only valid way to improve. Yeah, that's really gonna be it. Oh, also links for our Discord server and merch stores in the description below, as well as our referral codes if you want to create a Star Citizen account and use our referral codes to give both you and I a new Argo cargo. Because, yay, an Argo cargo.
Because fuck you, that's why.
But no, all four of our referral codes are in the description below, as well as a link to creating an account for Star Citizen. Yep, that's going to be it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we will catch you hopefully Wednesday, but if not, I guess, let's see, Sunday at 6 p.m. for insert name here, and Monday for episode 45 of Cast in the Shadows. Alright.